Takuto died only to find himself in another world, reincarnated as the ruler of the dark civilization Mynoghra from a strategy game he loved, destined to conquer the world and become the strongest. The first episode of this anime begins with a boy named Takuto sitting in his room, playing computer games. He suddenly dozes off, then wakes up to find himself in a strange place. A girl calls him King, and Takuto is greatly shocked by what's happening, but he soon realizes he's entered the game he was playing. This game is a nation management simulation set in a dark fantasy world called Eternal Nations. His favorite character in the game is Otto, the girl standing before him. He doesn't understand his role in this game, assuming he's playing a character. Since she's calling him King, he understands she means he's the leader of Mynoghra. Otto tells him that he's the one who conquered the nightmare difficulty using the civilization said to be the hardest to control, the civilization of Ruin. He is the legendary player proudly leading the official user rankings. Takuto is astonished by this, although tells him she remembers everything now. They've conquered the world together many times in the game. She also remembers the number of times they've failed, so she tells him not to worry at all, as she remembers him from the beginning. Takuto tells her he used her a lot in the game to become as strong as she is, and he's very happy he can actually talk to her. He then asks her if she summoned him here. She tells him she didn't, but she found herself here in the blink of an eye. She concludes that this place isn't heaven, and if she had to describe it, it's somewhat like the world of Eternal Nations. She considers it a miracle, but is very happy to see him in front of her. She then asks him to start this new life together again. He tells her, astonished, that they don't know where they are now. Otto reassures him that they are together, and that this might be his world or perhaps a completely different one, but as they've done all those times before, they will start a new life together and build a kingdom for themselves. After that, we see Takuto still in shock. He has no idea what's happening or even where this place is, but since he's with Otto, he agrees to start together and recreate those bright days in this world. He then tells Otto he agrees to stay here and build a new civilization with her. Otto is very happy and then tells him her name is Mud Otto. She is the child born from the mud that will destroy the world, and from this moment forward, her body and mind are completely at his command. Takuto eagerly tells her he's ready to build their civilization together as the most evil nation of all. He adds that she is incredibly precise and specialized in internal affairs, so she knows what Mynoghra should do and what to do first. He then continues by saying they will withdraw from the world and close their doors to themselves. After that, a long-legged insect is suddenly summoned. Takuto and Otto are disgusted by it because it's so gross. Takuto thinks about killing it, but then he considers that the Mynoghra civilization is a gentle civilization that controls evil and ruin, so they must keep that in mind before taking any action. This means they must avoid being discovered by others as much as possible, which is their strict rule in the early stages of the game. He then says they must gather information without anyone discovering them. Afterward, he orders the long-legged insect that he will give it orders as a subordinate of the glorious Mynoghra. He commands it to go and explore the area around them, warning it not to disappoint its great king Takuto and to always ensure its mission is completed. The long-legged insect hurries to gather news and information for them. Otto is very happy about this because she was a bit scared, but now it's performing its function as a subordinate, obeying their orders as required. At that moment, Takuto tells her he can share the insect's field of vision, just like in the game, but doing so requires 100 points of his magic power, and they have 100 more remaining. Building a settlement to serve as their primary base will require 20 magic power, so they must not waste their remaining magic power. However, Takuto considers producing a warrior who can fight for and protect them, but that was not an option. Otto tells him she will fight hard if they are forced to fight. When Takuto looks at her magic power, he sees she only has 3 points. He knows her magic power increases over time, but they are now in a very precarious situation due to her low magic power, and any encounter with a strong enemy could lead to their deaths. Takuto then tries to see what the insect sees, and finds that he was able to grasp the surrounding terrain, but it's completely covered in forests, and the insect hasn't encountered any animals or monsters yet. Otto tells him that the forest terrain is ideal for hiding, but it's truly strange that there aren't any animals it has encountered. Takuto adds that there's no source of food either, but he will continue exploring for a while. Otto apologizes that she couldn't offer them more help. He tells her that her presence by his side is enough. Otto blushes at his words. Suddenly, Takuto sees a group of dark elves. They weren't far from here, as Takuto sees many of them gathered together. Otto tells him this confirms they are in a fantasy world. Dark elves are usually neutral, but tend towards evil neutrality, so this is convenient for them. Takuto asks her if she's sure this is truly the world of Eternal Nations. If they find a settlement of another civilization, it will be bad for them, as they want to avoid war as much as possible, which is why they need to remain hidden initially. Being next to another civilization would be very troublesome. It would be a bad start for him. Otto reassures him that if that's the case, they will run away together. Takuto is relieved by her words and decides to observe these dark elves to gather information about the surrounding area, and if they're unlucky, they'll run far away together. Suddenly, a group of elves appears before them. Takuto and Otto are shocked by this. The leader is very scared of him, and at that moment we go back in time for a while, where we see a group of elves wandering through the forest, but they haven't found anything. One of the elves suggests they should leave these cursed lands, but what will they gain from leaving the forest now? They were driven from their land and have nowhere to go, and their children won't be able to last long. This area is full of plants, and there must be food on the outskirts of the unknown lands of Idaragia. Then, a girl named Imel talks to her leader, saying their books mention something evil being sealed in those lands, and whatever that thing is, it won't allow life to grow or thrive there. The leader tells her that everything she says is superstition. As she can see, the trees are growing very well here, so she shouldn't give up. He is sure that the spirits of their ancestors will guide them through this ordeal, even though it is indeed a suspicious forest, but he cannot leave for that reason alone, as his people are waiting for him. He then tells those with him that whoever cannot move further should stay to look for food. At that moment, they reach Takuto's location, where the leader is shocked when he sees him because that creature is very dangerous for them. And Imel was right. He is the embodiment of evil itself, and if he does anything, his actions will affect the fate of the entire tribe. My actions might affect the fate of the entire tribe. I must be careful. Gaia then introduces himself to the king, saying, I am a dark elf from the Mazaram clan, Chief Warrior Gaia. I see you are a person of high standing. Please accept my apology first for entering your forest without permission. Otto responds, it seems you are well aware of what it means to trespass on this land. What was the reason that compelled you to commit this transgression? Gaia informs her, my clan of dark elves, the Mazaram clan, used to reside in the central Idaragia lands. However, our former leaders, the highest authority among the elves, the quadripartite ruling council, persecuted us and expelled us from our land. We had nowhere else to turn. We came here fleeing from severe persecution. Our food supplies ran out on the way, and because we were trying to evade our pursuers, we couldn't acquire more food. Several days have passed since we last ate anything. All we wanted was to live in peace. The king then throws an apple to him, saying, this apple tastes delicious if sliced into rabbit shapes. Gaia takes it, thinking to himself, would it be rude to taste it here? And can I do that while our people await our return? Then we see Gaia's friends. It's delicious, incredibly sweet and full of juice too. Otto then says the king offers him his generosity. Gaia replies, there are many of us who fled to this land with us, young children. The children are starving. They haven't eaten anything in days and have become skin and bones. He asks him to provide food for the children instead of eating it himself. Afterward, the king throws a lot of food at them. After that, Gaia says to himself, the dark elves are despised because they fled from the light. They say that we are only allowed to live thanks to the mercy of the light elves. We are subject to such contempt, forced to live in the shadows, far away. No one has extended a helping hand to us. Only the king tells them, this food is for you. They are greatly surprised, and Gaia asks him, who are you? But the king doesn't reply. The scene then shifts to Gaia's people, who are very tired and want to eat. Finally, Gaia returns with a lot of food. They are overjoyed, eat, and cry from intense happiness. Then, Gaia speaks with Moltar, saying, the fruit you brought with you was amazing. I have lived a very long life, yet I have never seen anything like it before. Gaia replies, yes, I tasted a little of it, and it was wonderful. This is the first time I've discovered that fruit with such a delicious taste exists in this world. I encountered a legendary being in the depths of the forest. I remember Imel mentioning something about a being that was sealed in the cursed lands. Then Moltar asks him, did you meet the King of Ruin? Some old legends and books still exist. When the world reaches saturation, the King of Ruin appears. He will bring ruin to everything and force everyone to start anew. We don't know the veracity of these stories, but I cannot assert that they are false either. Did he describe himself as such? Gaia tells him, he did not introduce himself to me, but the King of Ruin was terrifying enough to deserve that title, and I would not speak to him. He was a being beyond our comprehension. But there was a young woman serving him who explained some of the king's words to us. Moltar replies, you're not sure if what you encountered was truly the King of Ruin, but it's certain that he is not a benevolent being, and now that my stomach is full, and I've regained some of my magical energy, it's clear to me. This forest is unnatural. Perhaps I should have paid attention to that earlier. No evil being would grant gifts without a price. Gaia tells him, all I did was explain our situation when he asked, and he did so out of mercy. His Excellency sympathized with our situation and overwhelmed us with his generosity. Moltar then gets angry and asks him, did you call him His Excellency? He used that expression to denote respect. Gaia becomes agitated with Moltar. He helped us when we were starving. It's natural for me to show him respect because he fed our stomachs. What was I supposed to do? Moltar apologizes to him because he also doesn't know what he should have done. I will take over negotiations with the king as the leader of the oppressed dark elves. I have lived 2 centuries so far. I will find a way, and I wonder when I will finally be able to spend my nights in peace. The scene then shifts to Otto, who is angry with the king, telling him, sit up straight. I want to enable your rare magical energy agreement. We have begun establishing Mynoghra, and we still don't even know what surrounds us. The king tells her, I just felt pity for them, and I apologize for using our magical power without asking you. I will fulfill any request you ask of me. I need you with me. Otto tells him, there's no need to make such a promise because I am a subordinate. It's futile to object to my great king's decision. Issue your commands as you wish. He tells her, I couldn't speak to those dark elves properly. I can speak with you smoothly, but when I stand before others, words fail to come out. I am simply bad at communication. Even when I was in the hospital, I don't recall having any pleasant conversations with nurses or doctors. This concludes today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all that's new. Our episode begins with Atto talking to Takuto. A bug appears, and Atto gets angry at it because it's talking to King Takuto. Takuto tells her not to be angry, as he was the one who asked it to return to them from time to time. They then continue their conversation about the elves. Takuto says that the presence of people with different cultures and ideas in close proximity can lead to many conflicts. Atto asks him if anything is bothering him. He tells her that he's not good at communication and isn't sure he'll be able to handle negotiations well. Atto suggests that she handle the negotiations instead, which would help showcase his majesty as the king of the elves. She asks him to tell her anything he needs without hesitation. Takuto thanks her and tells her he's relying on her and trusts her ability to negotiate. Then we see Moltar, the elder of the Dark Elves, with Gia. They introduce themselves to King Takuto. Atto immediately asks them to state why they've come and what they want from the king. Moltar expresses his deep gratitude for providing food to his people, O king, and asks for his esteemed name. Atto introduces the king, saying, "This is the lord of the end of the world and the ruler of ruin, Ira Takuto. Be sure to address him as King Ira or King Takuto. I am Atto, and I serve as King Takuto's assistant. I am of lower status than him, but you must also show respect when addressing me." Moltar tells her that he will always respect her and the king, and promises to engrave their names in the hearts of his people. Atto then allows them to take the food and leave. Moltar asks her how he can repay the great kindness King Takuto has shown his people. She tells him it's unnecessary, as she doubts they can offer anything that would satisfy the king anyway, and they lack the necessary resources. Atto then asks Moltar what they plan to do, and he tells her that his intentions are not bad and he isn't planning anything. King Takuto tries to calm the situation and reminds Atto about the negotiations. Atto gets very angry and tells him that these elves are very bad at negotiating, and if they leave them now, they will hinder their path later. Therefore, it's essential to eliminate them immediately. Takuto tries to calm her down and tells her he's confident they want to build a mutually beneficial relationship. Instead of offering them aid for free, they should offer them assistance for a price that would be satisfactory to them. Atto thinks this is a good idea and tells Moltar and Gia that King Takuto has decided to accept their offer in exchange for his generosity towards them. Moltar and Gia are very happy and express their gratitude to the king. Atto then starts to think about the compensation and asks King Takuto what the compensation should be. Takuto tells her that the compensation is for Moltar to tell them about the outside world beyond this forest. Moltar tells her that he will show them everything they have seen and heard outside the forest. Atto says, "Good. Once you honor your pledge, be sure to leave this forest." Takuto notices Gia trembling and wonders why, saying that Gia's actions are much easier to predict than the old man's. Moltar then tells them that nothing would make them happier than to receive permission to stay in this forest, where King Takuto resides. Atto tells them that she cannot allow that. Furthermore, if they don't want to lose the lives that have recently been saved, they shouldn't mention what happened here to anyone else. When Gia tries to object, Moltar immediately stops him and tells him that these are the king's wishes, and they must respect them without hesitation. They start to leave, but suddenly, King Takuto calls out to them and suggests that they become his subjects. Everyone is very surprised. Atto angrily asks him what he means by that. He tells her, "I'm thinking of using the asylum system. The Dark Elves are not inherently good or evil, but if we accept them into our presence as refugees, and assuming things go as in the game, they should become evil beings like us." Atto tells him that they are very different from the main demi-human citizens, and she doesn't want any conflict or serious disagreements to arise between them. Takuto tells her, "There is indeed a risk, but I want you to remember what the demi-humans are like. Can you bear to live with only those as citizens?" She tells him that he's right. As it's difficult to have a normal conversation with the demi-humans, their appearance is very unsettling to the mind. They then find this to be a good solution, and he asks her to tell Moltar. Atto looks at them and says, "Our king intends to establish a nation here soon. If you wish to become its citizens, we will provide you with protection." Moltar asks her what will happen to them if they become his subjects. Atto promises them eternal happiness. She replies to him she will make them happy and promise them eternal happiness until they die. "But I don't think that's what you want to know, Mr. Tribal Leader. I believe you will become evil beings with the freedom to choose your own destiny. But if you'll allow me to add my personal opinion, it's more fun on our side than you might imagine." The scene then shifts to King Takuto and his follower, who tells him, "Watch your steps, my king, for you are walking barefoot." They then discuss the elves, saying perhaps they should think about this. I believe none of them were thinking about it carefully. If they knew they would become evil beings, they would have known from the beginning what would be their best choice. "I can see it now, my king. It's the Dark Elves' camp. Do you see it?" He replied, "Yes, I see it clearly." Finally, the tribal leader calls out to them, "People, the king has arrived. The king will pass by them, but they see such a dark aura that as he passes by one of them, he immediately faints. Then the king sits in the presence of everyone, and his follower speaks. And now, we officially declare before all of you, Dark Elves, this, as citizens of our new nation, Mynoghra." She then turns to the king, "King Takuto, do you trust them?" He informs her, "Yes, my beautiful girl, all conditions have been met." "Well, let's officially announce the establishment of our small state." That elf then talks to himself. "This is it. They told us we would become evil, and that's what we want, but nothing has happened yet." At that moment, something strange happens, and he feels something in his heart, as if his services have been activated, hatred and malice towards any other race. He was very angry and in pain. Then the king comes to him and asks, "What's wrong, young man?" He replied, "Nothing, my king, it's joy. I am now crying from joy." Then everyone rejoices over this idiotic, trivial king. Indeed, everyone also cries in sorrow, but we don't know why. Do you know why, my friends? Write it in the comments. And a few days after the announcement of the establishment of that state, he now says, "I'm stuck," while holding a paper and saying, "Disaster, calamity, I don't understand anything." Then he shows that paper to his servant and says, "Look, this is the map of the continent I got from Sheikh Moltar." He was very angry and said, "We got a bad location." He jumps and cries on the ground like a small child because there are two continents. The continent they, the elves, founded, where nature rules and they control everything, and the continent on the right, which is the continent of humans. But if they discover us, we don't have the military capabilities to fight, and this makes things worse. Also, those cursed lands have no natural resources we can benefit from. Due to how bad it is, it can't even be classified as a difficult level, because that would be an underestimation of its wretchedness. Rather, the matter is very dangerous, but at least not all news is bad. Usually on the continent we're on, there are rivers and water that humans find difficult to access. After that, the elves come to submit their report. Gaia comes to him with the two tribal leaders, and today he brought his assistant, Emil. Gaia introduces himself and states that he has brought his assistant, Emil, with him today. Emil is an intelligent woman with extensive knowledge of legends and other nations, and he believes she will be beneficial to them. Oto then informs them that her king is very pleased with their dedication, and that there's no need for such formalities as he dislikes them. She then tells them about their future plans, and that their king will appoint them to key positions in the administration of the Mynoghra kingdom. This is their king's decision, and there's no turning back. She then addresses Sheikh Moltar, informing him that he will manage the affairs of the state. She mentions that he is proficient in magic, so they are entrusting him with significant tasks. Sheikh Moltar accepts the position. Odo then turns to Gaia, stating that he will continue to work as the leader of the warriors and take command of Mynoghra's forces. He is also entrusted with the task of recruitment. Gaia is very pleased with this position, declaring that as long as their king commands it, he will prepare himself for everything and instill in his soldiers a love for working with them, as their king loves peace. Therefore, he must always be careful to remember that. Gaia is surprised, wondering how a king of destruction could be so peaceful. Odo continues, telling them that they should rest well until they recover and will be assigned to build housing for themselves. The sheikh thanks her greatly for this assistance, then tells her that his knowledge will be of direct benefit to them. Unlike Gaia, who only prides himself on his forces, Gaia gets angry at him and then tells them that he is full of vitality and doesn't need any rest at all. Oto then speaks to Tacto in a low voice, saying that they seem obsessed with work, so they might as well order him to collect resources at the moment. Tacto thinks for a bit, then suggests something: improving the terrain. Oto is pleased with this suggestion and then orders Sheikh Moltar to gather wood while preserving enough of the forest without harm. The sheikh agrees, then tells her that they are also a people who live in the forest's embrace. If they intend to construct buildings using large trees, he is confident in their ability to fulfill their king's desire. Gaia is still amazed that the king does not intend to destroy the forest. Tacto wishes them good luck and then asks them not to forget to reforest it again. Gaia and his companions didn't understand what he meant by reforest. Tacto thinks to himself and says that, from what he knows, the technological level of the people in this world seems to not exceed the stage of building fortifications. They don't know much. Odo asks them in shock if they are familiar with the terms military magic and primary elements. Sheikh Moltar replies that he knows the 4 primary elements, as it is a basic concept of magic, and that they haven't heard of any other nation using the term military magic. Tacto understands that this world has not yet reached the level of magic technology associated with the 6 primary elements, and that they are strangely behind in other areas of technology. The sheikh then states that their magic technology is much poorer than their king thinks. Oto understands that this means they have an opportunity to surpass other nations once they advance in it. She then remembers the meaning of the word reforestation, and tells them that reforestation is the practice of planting trees in land where trees have been cut down in order to preserve the environment. It is an important step in ensuring resources. Emil replies that she does not believe their magic technology has any relation to tree growth, as this usually takes several centuries to mature and be ready for cutting. Moltar replies to her, "It usually takes centuries for them to mature and be ready for cutting, but are you suggesting something?" Otar responds with a yes. Reforestation is a technology that uses the primary elements to accelerate their growth, and this is also wisdom born from our great king Era. Everyone is astonished to hear that. She continues, "Our king is hundreds of times more amazing than you can imagine. The knowledge born from our king covers several different fields. Do you realize how lucky you are to have the blessing of our king?" Emil says, "So the apple we got before was also food created by our king?" Odo confirms, "Yes, that's right. As for me, I prefer the grapes our king creates." Emil exclaims, "Grapes? That purple fruit? I found seeds in it and tried to plant them, and they had already started to sprout some time ago. I can't wait." Oto asks, "Did you say you planted grape seeds?" The king thinks to himself, "Why didn't I notice this earlier? The food I created before was from the modern world. This means I can use emergency production to create things that haven't been found in this city yet." Then the king uses his power, holding money and saying, "With this power, I can create gunpowder, basic metals, even oil." That takes a lot of magical energy, but it's clear how incredibly powerful this is. Emil asks, "Is that a bad thing?" Oto replies, "No, it was something we overlooked. You did well." This concludes today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates. Our episode begins with Princess Swalina walking with a group of guards. We see one of the guards telling his friend that he heard the princess possesses a special power, but it seems like a rumor to him. Suddenly, a group of monsters appears before them. The princess uses her magic staff and unleashes a tremendous fiery magical power, easily defeating the monsters to the amazement of all the guards. After the monsters disappear, we see the sun rise and flowers begin to grow from the ground. This power is one of the reasons for repelling evil and maintaining a stable life with the kingdom of elves. This power buries its enemies in flames and bids them farewell with flowers. This makes the princess one of the 7 great saviors of the continent of Idorgia. She is Princess Swalina, Lady of the Flourishing Burial. Then we see the princess asking the cardinal about the matter she previously discussed with him, referring to the signs that warn of the end of the world in the Cursed Lands and the necessity of sending holy knights to investigate. The cardinal tells her that he will never agree to it, as it's inconceivable to show interest in the Cursed Lands in the distant Dark Continent. The Central Command would not permit the use of knights for such a purpose. The princess tells him that she will go herself, which angers the cardinal because she doesn't realize the position she holds now and wants to expose herself to danger. She is now the holy princess, no longer that simple village girl. The cardinal is forced to agree to send the knights for this mission, then leaves the princess and departs. Then we see Takuto and Ato standing before the king's throne. Ato tells him that the Dark Elves worked at lightning speed to build this throne and council chamber for them. We see that Takuto is very happy with this, and Ato is excited to build a strong civilization on Earth that reaches the sky. Then, Moltar, Gia, and Emily arrive to begin the council. But before starting, Emily presents King Takuto with a gift. Takuto is very pleased with the gift and puts it on. Then the meeting begins, with him in utmost happiness. Moltar then asks Ato about the buildings they should start constructing first, as they've already begun preparations such as leveling the land and clearing obstacles. Ato tells him that they will start by building a food production facility, as no one can fight a war on an empty stomach. Moltar asks her, "Isn't the great King Takuto capable of producing infinite quantities with his power?" Ato gets angry and asks him how long they will rely on the king and burden him, and furthermore, distribution problems will arise with the expansion of territories. Moltar apologizes for this. Then Ato presents them with a meat tree, but they don't understand and ask her for more clarification. She tells them it's one of the food production facilities in her civilization, a tree that produces mysterious meat with the taste of human flesh, providing an abundant and very nutritious harvest. Moltar tells her that everyone might be displeased with the idea of eating human flesh. Ato tells him that they will plant it temporarily as a start and see others' reactions. Then she tells them that she also needs a hut to manage it and a building for food storage. Ato then discusses the next item on the agenda, research. Since they are still a small nation, they are in urgent need of acquiring the latest technology, which is magic technology. Moltar gets very excited about this and tells her that he is also a researcher in the field of magic and will be able to help them as much as possible. He asks them what kind of magic they will research. Ato tells him that they will research military magic. Ordinary magic can only target a few dozen people, but military magic allows attacking armies of thousands and even allows changing the terrain to everyone's advantage. Therefore, they must select some talented individuals in magic to lead this research. Then they move to military planning. Gia speaks and tells her that they must first organize an army. King Takuto tells them that for now they will not focus much on armies, as they do not produce anything but consume resources and magical energy. Gia tells them that the current warrior squad does not possess enough power to protect the king, and worse, there are bounties on his head, and Moltar's, due to them being leaders of the Dark Elves. Ato realizes that they are worried about being hunted. King Takuto agrees to produce a hero. Ato agrees to this, as although producing a hero has a high production cost, it barely requires any maintenance, making it an ideal choice. Gia asks her, "What is a hero?" Ato responds to him, "In Mynoghra there are several heroes serving under our king. All of them are strong and possess special abilities, even if they are all somewhat crazy monsters. However, there are several conditions that must be met to summon them, and we must be able to summon at least one. Besides the continuous resource needs of armies, they also attract attention, whereas a hero can help us maintain our secrecy. Therefore, we will produce a hero, and then you can all rest easy. Takuto confirms this statement and reassures everyone that they will be fine, and peace will prevail in the area after they gather magical energy from the existing locations and habitats. The matter will be extremely difficult, but this meeting will reveal many things, and also, consultation on matters is the most important thing, to gather opinions, collect them, and analyze them well. Therefore, people of the Millennium Forest, I will lead everyone to the pinnacle of happiness. The scene shifts to that city, where we see this hero named Lonius. Someone calls out to him saying, "What are you doing here, my friend? We have no time to waste." But Lonius replies, "Be silent. I am praying to God, asking him to relieve our distress, so you must be silent, Mr. Verdell." He said to him, "All right, you have complete freedom, but do you have a wife and children?" He told him, "Yes, my wife is Marcia and my daughter is Minnie, but don't worry about this. Let's go on the journey," which will last for several days. They will send them to the Dark Continent to investigate a vision seen by Swalana, that saint. "I know if we succeed, we will be appreciated by the Southern Provinces Conference, and if we fail, I will be held responsible as an auxiliary knight." The other replies, "But our strength is very meager. The force consists of 2 leaders, you and me, and they told us to make up the numbers using mercenaries. But perhaps we will investigate the matter, as there are no clear standards for the size of the forces deployed. However, we don't know what the leaders are thinking. They must have a reason to force these 2 people to be together on the same journey. We will know everything later." Then they go outside, and people call out to him, "Lonius, we've been waiting for you, you idiot." Perhaps these are the mercenaries they hired to do that mission. The scene shifts to the forest, and we see Takuto, that silly king, and they have built him a beautiful house on a tree. The civilization is developing little by little, life is bustling, the feeling is wonderful, everyone is happy. Yes, that is the new residential area. They specialize specifically in building houses on trees. It's wonderful work. My friends, I want to build a house like this on a tree. What about you? Write to us in the comments if you want a house like this or not. The meat trees are growing well, and the food storage facility will soon be complete. Elder Moltar is leading the Magic Research Institute with many talented magic users who have already begun their studies. They've also discovered a nearby spring, securing a permanent water source, and are currently surveying the area to build a canal. As for the building where their king resides, it also serves as the general administration office for paperwork. Atto understands that Mynoghra's governing system deserves a more imposing headquarters, but this is the best they can achieve for now, hence its current size. Takuto is overjoyed that Atto has not only completed his requested tasks, but also taken initiative on unassigned ones, like securing the water source, which he deeply appreciates. More importantly, seeing the previously downtrodden Dark Elves, who were once so disheartened before he met them, now brimming with life, truly gladdens him. He knows he gave them this opportunity, and their transformation brings him immense joy. Emily, seeing his silence, becomes concerned. She tells him that his orders were carried out because they wished to repay his kindness. Takuto tells her that this is truly admirable, and he is happy to have welcomed them all as his citizens. Emily thanks him profusely, shedding many tears. Emily then leads them to the meat trees, continuing their inspection tour. Takuto is pleased that Emily has regained her composure, as he'd never seen a girl cry because of him before, which had genuinely flustered him. Emily informs them that the meat trees are almost ready for harvest. She knows they were relying on them, but everything is proceeding smoothly thanks to the high-quality agricultural tools and equipment Takuto provided. Takuto assures her he will continue supplying them with tools, for now, to help them progress quickly, though he secretly worries about the quality if they were to make them themselves. Atto laughs at him, saying it's akin to cheating. Atto tells him that using what seems like cheating abilities to establish dominance is extremely enjoyable. Then the meat tree itself speaks, telling them it's ripe enough to eat. Atto now understands that they have secured the necessary food production to sustain Mynoghra's inhabitants. Emily then asks them to accompany her to the water source. As they walk through the very strange forest, Emily becomes uneasy. Suddenly, she's shocked when she sees the spring they finally found. Gia tells her that he came with them to assess the possibility of building a canal after Emily informed him about it. However, he knows this water is no longer safe. Everyone looks at him. Atto tells them it is safe, then drinks from it, finding it delicious. Everyone is stunned. Atto tells them that this water is called the Cursed Domain, and it's proof that this land has become part of Mynoghra's territory. She then asks them to try the water, and they find it is indeed safe. Atto further explains that this Cursed Domain grants advantages to evil creatures and imposes disadvantages on neutrals and good beings. Since they have become citizens of Mynoghra, they have transformed from neutral to evil. They understand that it's not only safe, but also provides a more comfortable living environment for them. Gia drinks from it again, finding it perfectly natural and drinkable. This cursed domain is absolutely perfect for defense, and soon, all the lands of their kingdom will transform in this way. Moltar rejoices, exclaiming, "As expected from our great king, this is truly an amazing power." The king, however, points out one problem. This power is highly noticeable, requiring precise monitoring of the surrounding area. Atto assures them not to worry, as their king will produce a hero. However, they remain unconvinced about this hero. Suddenly, Atto sprouts numerous octopus-like tentacles, instantly tearing through several trees. Everyone is stunned. Otto then reveals, "I forgot to tell you, but I am also a hero. And what you just saw was less than 1% of what I can do. Those called heroes possess immense power. They can wipe out entire armies." The king adds that heroes' power is extraordinary. They don't draw attention, and they continuously gain strength over time, even without doing anything. He then tells Otto, "You didn't have to destroy the forest just to show off your power. You could have waited, but make sure to clean it up later." Otto is taken aback by this. Everyone, including the hero Otto, supports the king, stating the necessity of building a palace befitting their ruler. The king, however, declines, saying, "We don't need a palace. I'm comfortable in a house like everyone else's." Everyone rejects this, and Mr. Moltar states, "I know it's rude to object to your esteemed opinion, but please reconsider." After much persuasion, the king finally agrees to have a palace built for him. Everyone is delighted and renews their oath of loyalty, promising to do all this and more for him. The king is very pleased. Meanwhile, we see the Holy Knights continuing their journey, slaying monsters one after another until they've eliminated them all. Lonius hopes their progress will continue at this pace in the Dark Continent. And with that, our episode concludes for today. Stay tuned for future episodes of this anime. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new content. Our new episode begins with this group, who appear to be a company of knights. The captain speaks to his friend, saying, "You did an excellent job assigning this large mercenary group. You were lucky in this, or perhaps you're clever enough." The other thanks him for these kind words and beautiful praise. Most mercenaries are in the north at the moment, as the disturbances there are called the Northern Disturbance. They suddenly appeared in the northern province of the Holy Kingdom of Qualie and raided villages, causing severe damage, burning crops and homes. The army was quickly dispatched to contain the situation, but the disturbances continue without any signs of calming down. However, this doesn't concern us, as we are heading south to the southern lands, to the Cursed Lands. No one knows what we might face there, so be fully prepared. After that, we see this masked person. We don't know who he is. Write in the comments if you know him. The scene shifts to the evening, when the captain was talking to Burgo, asking him, "What was that about the sorceress?" Burgo replied, "It's just a rumor, sir. People say the disturbances in the north are caused by a sorceress." The captain said to him, "That's not the case. Not everything that happened could be from one person. Perhaps it's more dangerous than that. But don't worry yourselves. We're on vacation now, and we shouldn't talk about such terrifying things. We should eat, drink, and forget everything. There's no need to worry. In the end, things will be intense, and we won't be defeated by a small number, for our numbers are very large, and we are also strong." The other advised him not to be conceited, as arrogance would cost him much, and many armies in the past had been defeated due to their arrogance in their large numbers. Then Fyrdel, the brown-haired man, said, "Perhaps the elves in the southern region have fled there. We will investigate them, because they are very skilled in killing and assassinations, and if the situation worsens, we can escape." Lord Lawrence was astonished and said to him, "Lord Fyrdel, I agree that this is the spirit we should possess as strong soldiers in the Second Field Army. What kind of talk is this, man? Aren't we supposed to risk even our lives to eliminate evil if we find it?" He replied, "Lord Lawrence, don't let glory blind your vision. A time will come when that will be necessary for us knights, but it's not a matter for you to decide so easily. You have a family, and the same applies to me and the rest of us here. We have a good reason not to die, but we must take precautions." Then he stood up and told them, "Soldiers, eat and drink as you wish, for today is our day off." The scene shifts to the forest where King Takto and everyone else are gathered around him, saying, "What is this? Is something going to happen?" Everyone wonders what the situation is and why the king has gathered them. Then Takto uses his power on those things and brings forth this strange creature. At that moment, a flesh tree fruit appears to them. Everyone is shocked because it has transformed into a long-legged insect. Taktodo informs them that he cast a spell on it and it opened up like that. Then, Otto tells them that this is their king's power, and he still possesses much more power than this. Their devotion and happiness will grant their king even greater power. She then asks them to listen carefully, as they must show more loyalty to their king. Everyone agrees, and they then cheer for their king. Afterward, Takuto sits with Otto, who tells him she's happy that things are going well, and that they were able to safely use normal production. Takuto tells her she's right, but what relieved him more was that they backed down when he smiled to avoid their questions. Nevertheless, he wonders what that means as well. Otto replies that she didn't think it would simply be a matter of gathering resources and adding magical energy, and then everything would be done. Thinking about things they don't understand is useless, and that's the most important thing for them. She then tells him that thanks to the recent weather, they were able to confirm that they can safely produce new units. This means that the next steps will also proceed safely. Takuto decides at that moment to perform a heroic summon, even though they still need to gather a lot of magical energy. Now they finally have a clear path, and with two heroes by their side, they will ensure the combat power they need. Otto asks him whom he intends to summon first. He tells her he will summon Isla, the Insect Queen. He's thinking of starting with her as she is incredibly powerful. Isla, the Insect Queen, is one of the proudest heroes of Mynoghra and has an insectoid form. She also possesses the ability to enhance all insect units, making the long-legged insects first-class fighters. Furthermore, Isla can produce larva units to serve as her workforce, as Isla boosts performance in both war and domestic affairs. This is why she's the hero he desperately needs right now. Otto becomes very excited because summoning Ayla early avoids issues and increases the workforce. Gaining more power is a classic strategy when facing many unknown elements, and it's wise to follow strategies that can be trusted more. Takuto adds to her words that the others have terrible personalities, so they had no choice but Ayla. Otto then remembers something. One of them loves conquering the world, and another loves plunging it into chaos, and all their heroes have some kind of problem. Takuto replies that since they want to focus on domestic affairs now, the idea of summoning them now isn't bad, but they can't do without their abilities. He also wishes to meet them personally, so he intends to summon them eventually, hoping only that they don't cause trouble, as he wants to live in peace. After that, we shift to the Holy Knights, who are attacked by a giant, specifically a hill giant. The knights prepare to face and fight it, but they didn't expect it to attack in the middle of the day. But this is what they expect from the Dark Continent. Everyone immediately decides to confront it, as they have no time to waste by delaying here. One of the knights advances toward the giant and asks the rest of the knights not to do anything, as drawing its attention would be a big problem. Everyone stands silently, and the giant attempts to attack this knight. The knight uses holy sword magic, which is the secret technique of Qualia. They use it with sword movements to gain great power. Suddenly, the giant strikes the knight with its large staff, but the knight manages to block its blows and break the staff in half. The holy knights, who have been granted power, find their physical abilities enhanced, and their bodies are filled with strength capable of annihilating humans. For a holy knight, such power is an enemy to even a smaller dragon. The hill giant stands no chance, and Feirdel successfully defeats this man. Then Lauren says to him, "With such power, we should accomplish our mission without any problems." We then cut to King Takuto, who is eating a burger. Otto asks him, "Why don't you eat something better? You should eat healthier meals." The king replies, "I'm tired of doing that. I ate so much of that stuff in the hospital." He then tells her that he's very worried about her because she only eats salads. Otto responds, "That suits my taste more." Takuto thinks to himself, "Your habits are too healthy for someone of an evil disposition." Nevertheless, the pace of things is surprising. Otto then says to him, "The materials needed to build the palace, the Dark Elves are working very hard." King Takuto interrupts her, saying, "When you're done eating, you can summon Moltar and the others. Thanks to the long-legged insects, I can also see the area around the forest. I've been thinking of consulting with them about how to deal with that city. It doesn't belong to Qualia, nor is it loyal to the good side." Otto replies, "Yes, Qualia is far to the north. This city is from different neutral lands to the east. We really need to decide how we're going to deal with them, as they will be the first to discover our existence due to their proximity to us." King Takuto is pleased, saying, "I'm happy that they are neutral lands. If they were loyal to the good side, we wouldn't be able to negotiate with them." Otto then tells him anyone else coming here would be a problem because they wouldn't come without a specific purpose. Takuto informs her, "There are no notifications that anyone knows of our existence." Suddenly, the king feels something strange. The king then says, "It seems someone has already arrived. There's an armed squad approaching the forest. I want to avoid drawing attention right now. Go and divert them in the safest way possible, and if that's not possible, after that we see the knights preparing." Lauren says, "These are the cursed lands and the cursed sea of trees that repel life. Let's go." Everyone is surprised when they see a young girl. Feirdel speaks with her and asks her, "What are you doing in these cursed lands?" Otto replies, "I am a dark elf who fled to this forest for survival. It's clear to me that you are a holy knight from Qualia. What brings you here today?" Feirdel then says, "I cannot tell you why we came. Answer our question first." She tells him that she simply lives with her sisters who suffered a similar fate. "I do not advise you to enter this forest. I ask you to refrain from doing so." Lawrence gets agitated and says to her, "We are men chosen by the city." But Feirdel gets angry at him for speaking while he was present. Lawrence thinks to himself that he didn't say anything to deserve such a reprimand. Then Feirdel says, "We came here on a mission, and we cannot return just because you don't want us to," the elf Otto tells them. "My sisters are in a state of fear and panic. We all suffered a long and painful journey until we finally found a place to live in peace. I ask you to show us some mercy." Feirdel is unconvinced by her words and believes there's something in this forest. Otto tells him there's nothing but peace and quiet. But then she asks, "What made you, holy knights, interested in such a dismal forest?" He responds harshly and violently, "We came by the commander's order. We were told there's a complete catastrophe in this land, and we cannot return without confirming the truth." Everyone is shocked by this, as it's a military secret that no one should reveal. Lawrence becomes extremely angry, stating that revealing a military secret without permission is a treacherous act of betrayal, even if he is a high holy knight. His authority has limits. He then declares, "I will report this when we return home." Feirdel tells him, "Do as you wish." Otto tells them, "I am very sorry, but you will not be able to enter this forest." Everyone is stunned by this. The elf girl's eyes turn red as she tells them, "There is nothing in this land to worry you, Sir Holy Knight. Please understand that and return whence you came." Feirdel tells her that all they need is to enter for a moment. Otto tells them that that is also forbidden. Feirdel reassures her that there is no catastrophe for her or her people because the elves are a good people who fear such occurrences and wish to live in peace. The girl swears to him that no harm will befall them and that there are no catastrophes in this city. Firdel then asks everyone to leave. Lawrence is shocked by this decision and becomes very angry, feeling an evil energy emanating from the girl and not believing her. Firdel, in a fit of rage, tells him, "I trust her words. Trust is part of our creed." A major argument ensues between them, ultimately leading to Firdel insisting on returning home with everyone, but suddenly Lawrence is at the height of his fury and exclaims, "What a disgrace, High Holy Knight Firdel! I see you have abandoned our mission and I strip you of your authority. Not only did you reveal a military secret, but you intend to return without investigating. I cannot entrust this mission to someone who does that. Therefore, I will take command from now on, and I order everyone to enter these cursed lands so we can investigate ourselves." Firdel orders everyone to listen to him, but they cannot because Lawrence appointed them. The elf girl, Otto, pleads with them, "Please, don't act recklessly. We can still resolve this through dialogue." Lawrence orders her to shut up and warns that if she interferes further, they will show her no mercy. He orders the soldiers to apprehend her, but Firdel quickly stops them, telling them not to touch an unarmed person under any circumstances. Otto says, "It seems dialogue has failed." Moments later, Lorenz finds himself unconscious on the ground. He quickly wakes up to find his hand covered in blood. He looks around and sees that all the soldiers are dead. This girl is holding them one by one with her octopus-like hands, all of them killed. Firdel, the other survivor, tells him this girl is a witch, a cursed witch. The girl Otto tells them everything was going well. Life isn't always something that goes well. Will she let them go unharmed? This is what we will find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. We also ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates. After this great threat from Atu, Verd asks any of the survivors to return, as it is important that they report this. However, he apologizes as the witch's attack has wiped out all the messengers. It is here that To tells them that he is the monster they were looking for, dropping the knight's corpses to the ground. This leaves Lonius quite stunned. But Verda tells him not to lose his temper and that they have no choice but to fight, so she gives the order to form up for battle. His words make his men reconsider, so they quickly organize. Seconds later, Verdel has a barrage of arrows fired at Tatu, but in response, she simply blocks each projectile with her tentacles, appearing very relaxed around them. And when she sees that Verdel is frustrated, she assures him that she is sorry for having reached this point and that the fault lies with that fool at her side, who took her devotion for a walk and got involved where it didn't belong. Since he is still trying to process what is happening, he asks Verdel what she is a witch. He tells her that those above told him to keep it a secret, but now that half of his men are dead, he thinks it was better to have told them. It turns out that when the saint receives a revelation and the chiefs confirm it, they call the monster that emerged from the calamity a witch. And a witch also caused the riots in the north, so this woman must be your type. Having this threat in front of him, he asks the mercenaries to retreat so that he can make Lonius accompany him. And since they have no better option, the two use the art of the holy sword to attack. She tells them they are slow and powerless, but backs off when one of them is able to cut off her tentacles. With this, he discovers that they use the blessing of a god to deal a divine blow, which gives them an attack bonus against evil beings, which is the problem of good civilization. Because she was distracted analyzing that, Birdie attacks her again to cut off another tentacle, being able to notice that now she only has 3 more left. A gets quite annoyed by this, but when Lonius cuts off another one, what she does with the last 2 tentacles is attack the mercenaries, to hold them hostage. There she is honest and tells them that she has underestimated them a little and that they are stronger than she expected, but she knows well that they can no longer attack, and that is why she adores humans so much, since they love each other in such a way that they are the perfect shields. Damn old lady is crazy. It's true, Pydelonians, that he should restrain himself because there are only 2 left, and if they cut them down, they will be able to win. And if they manage to defeat it, they will eradicate the calamity. So instead of both of them, no harm will come to them. So he wants me to think about what's really important. After accepting his logic, the 2 immediately charge towards 2, something that takes her by surprise. Quickly and efficiently, they both cut the mercenaries' bodies along with their tentacles, and Verdel moves forward to deliver the final blow. But when he gets close enough, we see that he shows a most macabre expression. In an instant, Verdi is unpacked by multiple tentacles, and in those remaining seconds of life, he asks Lonius to flee so that he can be eliminated when he is pierced through the head. When the green corpse falls to the ground, Lonius is in shock because he was supposed to have cut them all. After listening to him, Tog asks him when he said he only had 6 and that he can replace them as many times as he wants. This while maintaining a very happy smile. Lonios interprets this as him playing with them all this time and, understanding the situation, asks the mercenaries to flee so that at least one of them must return alive to tell the tale, and he didn't have to say anything else. Quickly, the others run away, scared of such a monster, something that does not turn out well for T. As here when Lonius desperately attacks Tu, but suddenly she blocks his sword with Verdel's weapon, this while maintaining the art of the sacred sword. She immediately notices his surprised expression, so she explains that she stole them from her partner, and that all his hard work, years of training, and the techniques he acquired became hers when she killed him. Following that, he begins to exert pressure against him with a large number of attacks at high speed, without having to use his tentacles, since he finds it fun. As he does so, he tells him that it is a great skill, and that it seems that the paladin Verdel was worthy of being considered strong. However, he blames his death for his blindness. Suddenly, he asks if his wife's name is Marcia and his daughter's name is Mina, so Elonius asks him how he knows that. She confirms that she has stolen everything from Verdel, his feelings, memories, absolutely everything he knows. This is something that the Elonians pay more attention to, as it means that the more they kill, the more powerful they become. He tells T some thoughts that Verdel had, who wondered what would happen to Lonio and his family if he died here, and that everyone expects the mercenaries and him to return. He finds this heroic and worthy of a high-level paladin, as he cared for her safety until the very end, and now wants to know how she feels after hearing this. Lonius replies that Verdel's will lives on. That's because as long as he keeps it at bay, the mercenaries will be able to escape. Just after that, he hears some screams in the distance, and Atu explains that they are the Dark Elves, as he asked him not to let anyone escape. So he doesn't think his plan is going to work out the way he expects. At this, Lonius becomes completely desperate and attacks her without further ado. But Tus only reacts with malice, even though she is prepared for it. Once he has him trapped, he suggests talking about what would have happened if he had listened to Verdel. He would have returned home and reunited with his beloved family. He would have enjoyed the tranquility of a normal life and would have continued to offer his gratitude to his god. In turn, they too would have found peace, as the forest would have remained quiet and she would go to bed hoping it would remain that way forever. With that said, he now tells her about the future he has condemned, where in a nutshell, everything he knows is going to die. In addition to that, his family, his kingdom, friends, if he has any, will give them a home to eliminate them, wanting to torment them again and again until they beg for his death before killing them. Then he will go to all the towns they have passed through on the way and will annihilate all their inhabitants. Even if it doesn't make sense for him to do it, he'll do it anyway, and when people ask him why, he'll say it's his fault and then take their lives. Launius asks him to stop, but ignoring Taylor, he points out that if people despise him, he'll be finished. And that's why he should kill them all when they do, something that someone important taught him. So by continuing with her teachings, she is willing to annihilate everyone so that no one will ever despise her, regardless of the hundreds of thousands or millions of people she has to kill, that being the very thing she has chosen. Lonius keeps asking him to stop, as he is already completely tormented. Even ignoring him, she happily tells him that he is a good person, because he believed in a god. He worked for his country and loved his family, but for that very reason he hated those who believed they were justice personified. Finally, she says goodbye to him to end this, hoping he will watch as all his loved ones and the other innocent people who will die because of him suffer atrocious deaths. Lonio lets out a heartrending scream, but she doesn't stop laughing as he slowly and painfully takes her life. Once he ends up in the large pool of blood in front of him, you can see the shine of the ring he was wearing. Seconds later, he goes to the others to inform them that, just as he requested, they have all been killed. Auru tells him that this will surely please his king, and that, in that case, he now plans to return home, but not before asking him to get rid of the corpses. At this, she asks him if he is going to carry out what he has just declared. Tu's serious expression soon changes to a more animated one, and he replies that no, he had never dreamed of doing that. Besides, she's calm, she was just tormenting him a little. The others remain silent, finding it odd that she calls herself peaceful or calm, given that she has just killed about 8 people. It makes sense to think that. As if nothing had happened, T leaves, wanting to see his king, and because he is in a hurry, Jay asks him if something is wrong. T again takes on a serious expression and answers yes, since there is something important he must tell the king immediately. At night, she meets with Takudo to tell him about what happened, especially about the term witch they used on her. This leaves him confused, as he doesn't remember there being such a unit in Eternal Nations. She confirms that this is true, and that it becomes increasingly clear that they are not in the game world. With this in mind, Takuto mentions that he was afraid this would happen. Au tells him that until now, they have acted on the basis of the game, but now they must continue taking into account that the world is different. However, perhaps those differences are good for them, and this is reflected in their ability. Takudo understands that Au's special ability in the game gave him a fixed chance to steal the ability of a unit he defeated. She tells him that she was able to steal the memories of her defeated rivals to some extent, so it will be a great weapon to have in the arsenal. He agrees with that, because thanks to his ability, they can know what is happening in Qualia without having to send anyone. After that, Atawi tells him that Qualia cannot send them more forces due to a disaster that occurred in the north. But even if they remain calm for a while, they may try something after this defeat. Takudo reminds him that they know nothing about Mynoghra, and that if they intend to do anything, they will have to proceed with caution. But what worries him most is the origin of this disaster. Referring to the riots in the north, Ataul clarifies that he knows nothing about it, and that not even Qualia has information about that witch. But what they do know is that it has caused damage in the north, similar to what an army would do. On top of that, they know her name, which is apparently Seraquino the Slimy Witch. In a scene change, we see a girl walking animatedly through a destroyed settlement, which has corpses everywhere. The witch Kino, who is herself, mentions that now that she has finished her business here, she wishes to go to the next town. Following that, her zombies came out to accompany her. She was shown to be happy to cause chaos in her path. Returning to Takuto, Tu is asked if the northern unrest is recent, to which she replies yes. This leaves Takuto thinking, as it means that a monster capable of doing the same damage as an army in a short time has appeared. Thinking about it, he sees it as possible that he appeared in this world just like them, and that there seem to be more people with the strength of a hero than what is a troubling turn of events. Tao asks him what they should do, as judging by his actions, he seems to be evil, so he suggests making contact. Tuckett thinks it's better not to. This is because he doesn't believe they get along, especially if they are both evil. Tao agrees that it makes sense and sighs in anguish, since everything was going very well until now. Getting back to the topic, Takuto tells him that since there may be a hero elsewhere, they should do something else about it, which is create another hero. At first I was thinking of bringing Isla, but they think they should reconsider, since it might be best to focus on fighting forces. Auso supports him in that idea and points out that it will still take time to gather the mana necessary to produce a hero, agreeing to help with any job he is given. Meanwhile, Takuto tells him that they should not only rethink the island, but he is also thinking of changing their policies a bit. Suddenly, he declares that they are going to forge an alliance. This is because they have a clear enemy in Qualia, and since they know nothing about the witch, they would like to ally themselves with another nation. All understands his reasoning, but wants to know if that is feasible. After all, they are evil beings. He replies that it will be possible if the other nation wins something, although it will only work with neutral countries. Thinking about a possible option, she asks him if it could be the Eastern nation, to which he replies yes, and that when they finish with the palace, he would like to investigate that nation and increase his forces to find out if they accept the alliance. In a change of scene, we see how the defenses of a city are facing an enemy attack that occurs out of nowhere, something that has them quite distressed. Their chief magician blasts them with a powerful magical attack from the sky, and upon witnessing this demonstration of his skill, the others praise him joyfully, having great confidence in his abilities. But when he tries to leave, the others point out that the enemy has increased in number, and that they are still standing. This worries the wizard, who has reinforcements brought in and wonders what is happening with these strange monsters. It was something I had never seen before. Now when Tu says goodbye to Takuto and leaves, she stops at the door to try to say something to him, having some difficulty doing so due to her shyness when she is alone with him. It turns out that he feels that he has spoiled the moment, and that, in fact, he believes that he has overstepped his bounds with those champions, hence his concern that this could be serious for him. As if nothing had happened, Takuto asks her what's wrong with that, which takes her by surprise as it's not what she expected, leaving a silence in the air for a few seconds. It is here that Tu observes something in him, as his being briefly transforms into the King of Ruins in order to return to normal. Takuto asks her not to worry because what she does will never offend him, making it clear that he trusts her a lot, and that's why he wants her to continue helping him. These words move Tu deeply, and after fully recovering, he assures her that he will give her strength from every corner of his body, moving beyond the image he had of her moments before, and he is so excited that he suggests that she ask him for anything so he can punch in the air, demonstrating his clear motivation. Takuto looks at her with a smile, happy that she's back to her old self. And so ends Chapter 5. The scene shifts to several people working to build an even better and larger village for their king. Meanwhile, two sisters wonder why they remain still alive. After a while, the king's palace is finally complete. They watch and are excited to see inside. Upon entering, they are all enchanted. Even with many problems, this is where they will begin to live. Sitting on his throne, the boy wants to expand it as soon as possible, as soon as he has a few days off. Now the castle is enormous, and he wants his to be the same. Atu has become even more excited and wants the palace to reach the sky. The vassals who serve him are great heroes, bold and determined. Furthermore, besides, there will be several servants at the king's disposal. Takuto becomes even more excited after this speech. Suddenly, she starts screaming and realizes that there is no one attending to the king at the moment. Takuto only realized now that she said there is no one to serve. Atu begins to blame herself for being a terrible servant. Takuto asks her to stop exaggerating, as he doesn't want her to be bothered by it. Even so, she is bothered. Takuto just wants someone who is easy to talk to so she can be his servant. The boy can't speak to the dark elves at all, so he always feels very marginalized by them. He wants to try to be a more friendly king to everyone. She explains that this is because Takuto is too big for the people, but she just wants him not to worry. She has a brilliant idea to solve the problem and wants some time to put it into practice. Takuto knows that nothing good comes from getting excited. Soon after, Dia and the elder appear to talk to the king. At asks him to gather all the little girls because Takuto wants them all. The boy is frightened and so is the old man. In Atu's mind, his plan is to leave the girls as his servants so he can practice conversation. The elder asks why Takuto wants the little girls. The girl replies that he likes young girls. Takuto gets quite angry and explains everything to the elder, who understands. The elder understands that Takuto wants innocent children around, so he doesn't get bogged down in common sense when talking. Everyone is relieved after Takuto explains. Atu explains that there's something else at stake. Takuto is being careful to avoid depleting the workforce. The children will take care of Takuto, but only by helping with daily tasks. Even young children might be capable of doing something like this. Dia asks if they can be boys too. Takuto explains that he will have the children study for everyone's future and would like women to have more opportunities. The elder notes that this is a good idea. Everyone is quite excited that the king always demonstrates many excellent policies. Gia is surprised that Takuto is already looking to the future, aiming to develop new talents. A asks them to stop talking for a bit and bring their daughters. Takuto is excited and can now improve his communication skills. When he takes the children to Takuto, they all end up crying. AT gets quite irritated and asks if there are any children who don't cry when they see the king. Dia reminds him that there are twins. The old man thinks bringing the girls to the king might be too rude. AT wants to know what the two are talking about, and the old man explains that they are sitting girls. But there is a small problem. He believes they would be inappropriate to attend the king. A asks them to bring the girls before deciding anything. The old man decides he will bring them. Dia responds that he has already brought them and, unlike an old man, is always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead for the king. Soon after, the two appear and introduce themselves to the king. The youngest is Karia Elfer. The oldest is Maria Elfer. Ada, they seem to be children with a dark past and would like to know how Karia got the marks on one of her shoulders. She replies that it was an illness, but the old man decides to explain further. He says they are wounds caused by a plague, and although she recovered, the marks remained. The eldest, however, ended up going through something even more difficult. She ate her own mother. The old man explains that her mother was a difficult and very proud person. Her clan never forgot the sacrifice she made for everyone. Takuto now understands what happened. They traveled for a long time after being driven from their homes and of course faced challenges that required extreme decisions, such as starvation. Soon after, the girl begins to approach and sees Takuto in his original form. Takuto asks if she can take care of him and she accepts without a second thought. So, from today on, Maria will be a candidate for the kingdom's leadership. Batu is surprised that Takuto can talk to a girl. The boy asks if Karia isn't afraid. She replies that she isn't, because as the younger sister, her duty is to stay with her, the eldest sister. The two agree to serve the king. Then he explains that the king has granted them his permission. From now on, the two will work to care for their king. Later, the elder appears to talk briefly with Takuto. He explains that those two girls haven't cried once since they lost their mother. Their hearts have remained closed. He wishes Takuto would care for them with tolerance and mercy. At that moment, someone approaches Takuto and says to him, "My king, there is something you must know." The two girls have not cried even once since they lost their mother. Their hearts are still completely closed. I ask that you watch over them with patience and mercy. Takuto replied, "All right, do not worry about a thing." Then one of the girls comes to him with a drink. It might be sobia juice or perhaps sugarcane juice, but she spills it on him. She apologizes and he tells her it's all right. She then cleans his clothes. At this point, Atu intervenes and says to them, "You must be careful from now on. We have an emergency meeting and you both will attend. Try to avoid any mistakes." The scene shifts to the meeting. Everyone is seated and Takuto is now listening to everyone. Ato begins with reports on their current situation since construction began. A woman stands and says, "I am Emil, the one in charge of construction. After we finished building the palace, we now have a surplus of labor. Our wood supplies are stable, praise be to God, and we have plenty of other resources as well. I believe we can begin building new facilities." They ask Takuto, "Now, based on this information, can we proceed with the next building we discussed in the previous meeting?" He told them, "Yes, and I want to include a clinic for the health and safety of our citizens. We also want it to be low cost, which makes it the best option for now." The official replied, "As you command, I will relay this to the head of labor immediately." "The next item," she continued, "is the state of our resources, for which I am responsible. Our local gathering of food and materials is proceeding smoothly. With the king's help, we have also managed to secure the daily necessities that we don't produce ourselves. However, since this consumes a high amount of magical energy, the balance between resources and output in this area isn't quite right. Using magical energy for emergency production is very convenient, yet it is a necessary expenditure, so we will continue to use it. We must prioritize buildings and research that increase our magical energy production." Then, Ado speaks up. "Since the topic of magical energy has been raised, let's move on to our research." The person in charge of research stands and says, "We have completed our research into military magic. I have mastered it instantly. I am the only one who can use it for now, but I will train everyone. I believe that unleashing powerful magic, using the ruinous magical energy provided by the palace, will be absolutely crucial for our future. However, considering our king's policies, I doubt we will use it often." Otto replied, "Yes, it is very useful, but it is of no use at all in internal affairs. Therefore, let's proceed according to the plan and move on to the 6 main elements in the superpower skill tree. There is little to be gained from researching any other field right now. Now, we will discuss the army," she announced. The army commander stands and says, "Yes, the chief warrior, that is I, Gia, is ready for service. We have added 5 new long-legged insects to our forces. Their primary role is to scout the unknown lands surrounding the cursed lands, but within the cover of that cursed territory, the area behind the forest is all plains. We are focusing on maintaining stealth, so we cannot currently conduct bold exploration missions. However, we will now task the long-legged insects with extensive patrols around our perimeter. But, Atto told him, I am currently sufficient for reconnaissance operations, as you saw for yourself when that group arrived and I confronted them. Furthermore, we have officially decided to produce a new hero. I am now planning to summon the Insect Queen, Isella. The responsible official stands and gives her a report on the matter, stating that they have already acquired enough wood and provisions and are hoping to move her to the arching site. With that, the day's agenda was concluded. They then asked the king for his thoughts. He told them, "This is very good. I have no objection to the plans you have mentioned. You are all doing a wonderful job. Bravo." Afterward, the king goes outside and bumps into the two maids. "We are very sorry," they said. Then they ask him, "Your Majesty, are you an evil person?" He told them that he is aligned with evil. So they asked, "Then why don't you kill?" He asked them, "Kill whom?" So Maria asked him why he hadn't killed them, since he loves evil. Takuto couldn't answer her, so her sister Korea tried to rephrase the question, explaining that her older sister was asking why their great and mighty king would show mercy to children like them. Takuto replied that he wouldn't do anything to them because they take care of him, but he understood they were angry because he was being too kind, despite being an evil person. Takuto then asked them to listen carefully to what he was about to say. A good person, he explained, is only allowed to do what is right. He cannot harm others, he cannot steal from others, and killing people is completely out of the question for him. He then asked them, "What do you think an evil person should do?" Maria replied that he should do evil things and commit terrible acts. Takuto told them they were mistaken. An evil person, he said, is allowed to do anything. He can do good things, and he can do evil things. But evil people are selfish and completely free. They are allowed to believe in what they think is right as they move forward without looking back. Therefore, it is perfectly natural for me to be kind to you. I am an evil person, after all. Maria asked, "Won't you be punished for this one day?" He replied, "If I kill the good person who comes to punish me first, then I won't be punished." He knew they had been deliberately failing in their tasks all those times. The two girls grew tense, realizing he understood them. They tried to explain that they should have been the ones to die. Takuto understood that they couldn't forgive themselves for surviving at the cost of their mother's life, and that's why they were seeking salvation through death. He surmised they believed that if he got angry enough with them, he would kill them as a form of punishment. He then approached Maria and asked, "Are you here now for a reason? You are here because someone did what was necessary for you to survive." They knew very well who he was talking about. Korea replied, "It was very hard for us." Takuto told them, "Doing bad things isn't always wrong. Your mother did the right thing, just as you have. You should be proud of that. You are still alive because your mother's love overcame fate." Korea asked him, "What should we do now?" Takuto told them to live their lives as they wish. By doing so, their mother's love would be rewarded and she would be proud of them. They were now free to do anything and had no need to do anything to seek forgiveness, as long as they acted in a way that would have made their mother proud. He added that he would praise them for whatever they did, and that there was no need for them to hide their feelings. At this, the two girls began to cry profusely. After a while, Atto entered and found that Takuto and the girls had become very close. She told him the next matter concerned that city and asked if they would be going somewhere else. Atto then spoke about this city, saying the city of Forengaun is a neutral, multi-ethnic nation, composed mainly of humans and beastmen. It appears the city's name is Dragontan. This nation uses a parliamentary system run by shamans known as staff-bearers. Takuto said to her, "A multi-ethnic nation like this would merge multiple cultures and ideologies, so its diplomacy should be promising. Although it's a somewhat remote city, why would they build in a place like this? It would cost a lot to secure trade and distribute goods here." Atto informed him that she had information on that matter. "It seems there is a Dragon Pulse mine within the city," she said, "and this mine is capable of producing magical energy. Therefore, I believe we must secure it if we can. It also appears that Dragontan is currently on high alert. We were only able to observe them from a distance, but we have confirmed attacks by barbarians like goblins and ghouls. It seems they are struggling to fight them off." Takuto asked her, "Do you think they'll receive reinforcements from their homeland?" Atto replied, "There have been no signs of reinforcements in the areas we can monitor. This city is located in a rather isolated territory, so they probably can't send any reinforcements." Takuto thought to himself for a few moments, "If they are attacked, there will likely be refugees." Atto replied, "If we can take them in, we might be able to increase our town's population." Takuto asked, "Have you opened the Dragon Pulse mine?" Atto replied, "Our turn is next. We will be sending diplomats to the neutral nation of Forengaun." And that's how today's episode ends. If you liked the video, hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to receive all our new content. Our story begins as we're introduced to the neutral, multi-ethnic nation of Forengaun, primarily inhabited by humans and beasts. The city name appears to be Dragontown. Atoa informs us that Dragontown is currently on high alert, confirming attacks by barbarians like goblins and ogres. As they're under attack, refugees are likely to arrive soon, and our role is to send diplomats to the neutral nation of Foreign. The scene shifts to a group of people who don't appear to be human. Atoa enters with a very strange demeanor. They question her identity, noting her as a stranger. Military leaders gather around her, observing the beasts with a terrifyingly dense, dark aura. A woman named Tonokapoli is in complete awe. She looks at her commander and tells him not to attack out of panic. Atoa then orders her soldiers to retreat. Things are not going well. Just then, a small girl, or perhaps a boy, enters and says, "My name is Bibi. Would you tell me your name, you scary dark girl?" This clever boy de-escalates the situation. Otherwise, things would have taken a turn for the worse, toward death and attack. Thanks to this boy, things are good. We then see them walking in the forest, talking about their experiences. They learn about each other, and the group says they've fought many battles in this forest. They are now on their way to meet the king. The commander wonders what awaits them. After about half an hour of walking, they finally reach the idiotic King Tacto. They are very afraid of him, as he's like darkness itself. The commander thinks to herself, how did something this terrifying come to live so close to us? Who would have thought my imagination back then would have such reverse consequences? She then remembers what happened earlier with the mischievous boy. A giant monster was about to attack the village, but this boy used powerful magic to knock the monster down. He then stood on top of it and said, "Dear people of the village, you can rest now that I, the staff bearer, have arrived. I will protect you." The villagers exclaim, "That's amazing, Mr. Bibi. You're so great." He responds, "The color is good. Everything's perfect. Praise me more and encourage me more and more, because I love encouragement." Everyone started cheering for him, and he was very happy and smiling. In that moment, the giant troll gets up again, wanting to kill him, but Bebi uses the power of quicksand magic, and also plant magic, once again, to immobilize it and knock it down. They then quickly finish it off with arrows. At that moment, the elder, Tonokapoli, comes and hits him on the head. "I've told you many times before, don't call me elder. I'm not an elder, my dear. I'm still a maiden in my prime at 220 years old. But now, let's talk about what's important. You are the only young staff bearer here. You have to be more aware of the situation around you and act like a leader." He replies, "Okay, ma'am, I will try," she says. "I'm very worried about your future, and we are also on our way to the cursed lands. You weren't listening to the elders a little while ago, were you, you fool? They saw signs of the end of the world coming from there, so they asked us to investigate the matter. If these barbarian attacks continue, we will be finished sooner or later. It's even worse for an isolated city like Dragontown, since we can't send the army there. We don't know if the cause of these attacks is in the cursed lands, so we must hurry immediately. So let's hurry and get ready for our great journey." "Oh, okay, ma'am, I understood. Goodbye, we'll miss you, really." "You're a fool, son. You're coming with us. You're the first one, and you'll be at the front too." Returning to reality, she says, "I'm so stupid. I shouldn't have brought this child Bibi here because this is a very dangerous place. I don't want to sacrifice him." At that moment, Bibi enters nonchalantly and says to the commander, "Nice to meet you, Commander. Let's be friends. What's your name?" The lady, Notoboli, is shocked by him and his way of thinking. When Lady Tonokapoli hears him ask Takuto to be his friend, she is very shocked and asks Takuto to forgive him, as Debeti was nervous. Takuto tells her that he doesn't mind being friends, and Betty becomes very happy. Thus, Takuto gets his first friend in this town. During dinner, Otto gives Lady Tonokapoli this drink and tells her that their nation, Mynoghra, is proud that this drink is the most delicious in the world. The lady replies that she truly can't believe something this sweet exists in this world, and that she has never seen such high-quality dining utensils before either. Then we see Bebi with Mari, and he asks her about the same drink. She tells him it's apple juice and it's very delicious. He asks for another cup and uses his magic in front of them to show them how he uses magic. When Takuto sees him, he says to himself that Bebi has amazing social skills. If he were in his place, he would never be able to do that. This is the first time he has a friend, so he doesn't know what to do. However, these are important conversations with Forngon, so he must avoid following their pace. Then he calls out to Bebi and asks if he wants to play a game with him. Everyone is surprised because their king, Takuto, will play, but Bebi gladly agrees. They sit down to play, and Bebi wins the game. Takuto shows signs of joy, as he has never played games like this before, so this is new to him. He then asks Bebi to play another round, but he decides not to lose this time. Takuto wins the game, and Bebi tells him he is a very strong opponent. He then tells them that their apple juice is very delicious and this game is very fun, so he is happy to have come to Mynoghra. They ask him why they don't sell these to their country, as he bets everyone would enjoy them. Lady Tonokapoli tries to make him shut up, but Takuto says to himself that they were planning to open trade routes anyway, so he is happy that Bibi mentioned it. Although there are things he needs to verify before settling the details, it is fun to play with his new friend, but from now on, it will be time for diplomacy between their two countries. After that, Lady Tonokapoli talks to Bebi and orders him to be quiet, as he has spoken very comfortably with Takuto. Otto asks her to calm down, and then asks her the reason for their coming to their lands. The lady replies frankly that their country has been subjected to repeated attacks from barbarians recently. The barbarians usually avoid large cities, but they are also coming in amazing numbers, and part of the reason for their coming here was to investigate that. Takuto replies that they suffer from military weakness. The lady is shocked because he was able to deduce that from her behavior. She fears that he may not negotiate with them if he knows their weakness. Then, she tells them that they are able to repel them. All that matters is that their behavior is strange, so it is better to be careful. Ato speaks, saying, "It seems this matter is very troublesome and shouldn't be ignored." Grandma Tonokapoli replies, "Yes, 2 of our strongest forces, the staff bearers, have been sent to investigate. I hope you see this as a sign of our trust." Bebi interjects, "I thought we were sent to investigate because our country will perish if we don't find a way to deal with them. I didn't say anything wrong." Everyone is shocked by his words, and Grandma Tonokapoli gets angry. "How dare you say something like that?" she scolds him. Ato then speaks with Grandma Tonokapoli, telling her that she sympathizes with her. "We have no intention of harming Forangon," she says. "You might think that wicked beings like us are plotting something, but our greatest concern is always internal. Mynoghra is a peaceful, wicked nation. As for the barbarians who attacked you, if Dragontown falls, we are next. This matter also concerns us." The grandma asks, "Are you prepared to help us? We put a great effort into building that city for the Dragon Pulse Mine. Perhaps they are serious about helping us." Ato then seeks King Takuto's opinion, who says, "Friends should help each other." Bibi and the grandma are very happy with his offer of help. The grandma asks, "What do you want in return?" "You can take advantage of us as much as you like." Ato requests the Dragon Pulse Mine. "We are completely content with a shared control," she explains. "It's not that we need this immense amount of magical energy right now, but we truly want to determine the element it will be converted into." Grandma Tonokapoli is surprised. "You want to convert the mine's pure magical energy into specific elements? That's a technology that would take an extra 10 years to develop, but it seems you've already surpassed us in this research. Bibi is a fool, but he is the greatest fool among us. This boy is the future of our nation. In the coming days, he will lead Forangon as the representative of the staff bearers. In addition, Bibi is better at evaluating people than anyone else in our entire nation, and the decision is his. You have the right to do so as a staff bearer." Bevi replies, "I want to befriend the people of Mynoghra." Later they all gather. Ato says, "Let's reconfirm and discuss the decisions that came out of the recent negotiations." Emil states, "We have agreed to export provisions and games to Forangon, and in return, we will import daily necessities and metal products from them." The old man says, "It will be convenient to get these things. We have been relying on our king to get them until now." Edo tells them, "Our biggest gain is obtaining the right to access the Dragon Pulse Mine." Takuto says, "If it weren't for Bebi, our conversations might have ended with a more moderate, simpler outcome. Something like, let's take time to get to know each other. If that had been the result, we wouldn't have been able to help them in time." But what if he said that because he was thinking long-term? We will put Bebi's matter aside for now, but I think it is a good thing. Ato tells them, "Let's go back to the topic. We will repeat our policy regarding the future relationship with Forangon." A young girl asks, "What kind of country is Forangon anyway? To develop international relations, we need to know more details about their values and customs." Ato says that they'll need to investigate Forangon first, but its capital is very far away, and the investigation will take time. So they must put that aside for now and prioritize Dragontown, which is in need of help. Molter states that they'll need an official reason to enter another country directly. He and the others explain that if the advisor and minister of magic, Old Molter, goes himself, other countries will see it as a formal visit. All of them look to King Takuto, each wanting to be chosen for the mission. The king is very conflicted about whom to choose, but the 2 young girls plead with him. In the end, he chooses them, shocking everyone, who can't believe he's sending such young girls. The king tells them that he has something in mind to protect them. However, Ato is very upset and wants to leave the king and never speak to him again. The king then whispers in her ear, thanking her profusely for always thinking of him and his comfort. He holds her hand and says, "I didn't mean to make you worry so much, Ato. I wouldn't have gone to all this trouble if you weren't by my side. Please, cheer up, Ato. You're the only one for me." At that moment, Ato falls deeply in love with him and recalls the time he gave her a ring as a token of his intense affection. Afterward, he goes with Ato and the 2 girls he's chosen to fetch the guards who will protect them. The guards are a unit the king recently created. What adventures await these 2 girls? Find out in the next episodes. Our episode today begins with King Takuto and the group of girls with him. They stand before a massive, newly designed clinic building, constructed at the lowest possible cost. They've come here today to see the clinic, and as they enter, they are greeted by 3 terrifying-looking guards who welcome them with the utmost warmth. "Our great king, King Ira Takuto, has finally arrived. What a wonderful surprise. It is our honor that you visit us here," they said. "Command us as you wish, your majesty. We will carry out anything you ask of us. We are indebted to you because we were unemployed and you gave us jobs here. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts." Takuto replied, "I hope you are suitable guards. I also didn't expect to appoint you so quickly." At that moment, the 2 girls asked him, "Your majesty, who are they?" Takuto explained, "They are doctors at the clinic. They can treat injuries and illnesses, but they can also fight and protect you." Then Atu spoke to the guards. "Listen carefully. The king has recommended you to protect these two girls on their way to Dragontan and to monitor the culture and current state of that land. They were thrilled with the idea, performing strange movements before shouting, "We accept this honorable mission with great gratitude." Their enthusiasm was so spontaneous that Takuto thought to himself, perhaps I should do something befitting a king. He took a step closer and said, "Listen, I know it's still early, but I will grant you a reward for protecting these two girls and following their orders. I know you don't have names, so I will now grant you human names. Ichiro, Jiro, and Saburo. You can use these names from now on. We know, our friends, that these individuals are obsessed with humans, so they were incredibly happy with these beautiful names. But their joy was so over the top that Takuto was genuinely baffled by what was happening, to the point that they started dancing with glee. The scene now shifts to Entelise, a woman with large ears, who says, "I've had enough of this. There are so many duties on my shoulders as mayor." We now know she is the mayor of the village. "I thought I was finally free, living a life far away from that stuffy, boring, and dogmatic elven nation. I thought I would fall in love with a handsome man and live with him forever, but let this whole world go to hell. I'm sick of everything," she continued. "How did I ever agree to cooperate with the powers of darkness to protect this city? I never thought I would become this." At that moment, a woman enters while the mayor is fuming. She tries to compose herself and look pleasant, hiding her anger. "Yes, my dear, is there something you need?" The woman informed her that some people wished to meet with her. Antelise's face changed as she asked, "Did they have an appointment?" The other woman said no, and based on that, Entelise told her, "Ask them to leave. My time is more valuable than gold. Anyone who interrupts me must die." Her servant pleaded, "But mayor, they said they are envoys from Mynoghra." The mayor's mood instantly changed. "Why didn't you say that in the first place? Let them in immediately." She then welcomed them, saying, "Welcome to Dragontan." The mayor welcomes them to Dragontan, introducing herself as Entelise Antique. As she focuses on them, she notices a massive aura of energy around them, making her immediately nervous and leading her to suspect they are allied with the staff bearers. She welcomes and thanks them again for making the difficult journey. The younger woman replies, introducing herself as Karaya L4 of Mynoghra and her older sister, Mirai L4. The mayor laughs politely, but thinks to herself that they are from the Dark Elves, as she'd heard Mynoghra had accepted them as citizens. She isn't sure of the true nature of these two girls, and the three men standing behind them put her on high alert, as she'd heard ancient tales of dark elf assassins. Antelise tells them their visit was a surprise and that she wasn't prepared for a proper reception. She keeps talking to herself though, wondering what children like them are doing as envoys. She feels there's something much bigger behind these two sisters. She then remembers Lady Tonokaburi mentioning that there were two sisters named Elfor who the king himself was personally mentoring to become the future leaders of their nation. Antelise finally understands these two are extremely important, yet very young. A single wrong move on her part could lead to a catastrophe. She then asks them the reason for their visit. Jiro replies, informing her that they came in response to an invitation from Lord Pipi, the staff bearer. They should be considered students who came to learn about the lifestyle of another nation. He says this is merely the first step to pave the way for a smooth exchange in the future, so she should consider it just a courtesy visit. Since these two young ladies are still in their education phase, it would be best to avoid formal discussions with them. The mayor understands that they are not here to negotiate any agreements, and that she should treat them as tourists visiting her city. She is delighted, as this is just an introductory meeting, though she must be careful not to displease the girls. She tells them that in that case they are free to tour the city's sights, and that she would be happy to personally accompany them. The two young women are surprised that the mayor herself would take them on a tour. Antelise tells them she knows every corner of this city. Her intention is to get closer to them and ensure she leaves a decisive impression on their minds, as this is crucial for the success of future negotiations. She then asks them to begin the tour of the city. She tours the city with them, showing them the various districts and landmarks. At that moment, Takuto is observing them using his magic. He is happy that things are going well. Atu tells him his device has stopped working, so he apologizes and gets back to his work. The scene returns to the mayor and the two girls after they've finished their tour and dusk has fallen. The mayor leaves them to return to her work, and the two girls go to their lodging. They sit together to review the information they gathered today. Karaya asks her sister Maria how she feels about the day. Maria replies that she feels worried. The citizens don't have enough food, the enemies outside are terrifying, and no one will come to save them. She doesn't know what to do. Jiro then tells her that her words are very accurate. She is genuinely sensitive to the feelings of others, which is why she can sense their emotions completely. For this reason, Jiro wanted to give her this herb. After Ichiro gave Maria the herb, Karaya spoke to her sister. "This is popel grass. It even has its fruit," Jiro asked. "Do you know it?" Karaya explained. "It's a plant that causes powerful euphoria and hallucinations. Almost every nation prohibits its use and cultivation, but this one is in good condition, free of insects and holes. It's not a wild plant, which means it must have been cultivated by someone. It's a very potent narcotic." Ichiro replied, "That's bad. Go get rid of it. This must be a dangerous trade, as it's sold in Dragonten's markets." Karaya continued talking about Entelise, noting how hard the mayor works. Saburo then added, "We need to be careful, even while sightseeing. Be sure to protect the two young ladies." They then went to the Dragon Pulse mine and were impressed by the sheer size of the mines. Saburo remarked, "It's been skillfully hidden underground, but it seems they couldn't hide it completely." Karaya and Maria remembered their mother telling them that this world is full of beautiful things and places that have yet to be discovered. Then a man named Festa appeared, saying, "Popol grass grows well in this location. Please forgive my sudden interruption. I run a business here in the city." They introduced themselves to him. Karaya asked, "What do you want to discuss with us?" Festa replied, "I am a merchant, so it's natural for me to want to discuss business. I heard that this land will be under a joint administration with your country. What do you think about that?" "Are you willing to cultivate popol grass here with me?" Karaya asked. "What benefit would Mynoghra gain, and what did our king tell you?" He explained. "Popol grass sells at a high price, so the profits are high. Of course, I'll make other offers as well, but this is not the right place for details. Please come to this location after sunset today, and we'll talk there in detail. It's nice to deal with people who have an inclination toward evil. They always understand things easily. The current mayor is too inflexible, which makes things difficult. I'm confident your king will also be pleased. I'll be waiting for you tonight." He then said goodbye and left. Afterward, Karaya and Maria spoke with Mayor Entelise. They thanked her for her help, explaining they weren't interested in the city's affairs, but would rely on her if they faced any problems. Entelise said, "The important thing is that I managed to build a connection with you. I'm sure you will present me in the best light to the king of Mynoghra." Then, Festa suddenly entered, and Entelise grew angry when she saw him, asking why he was there. Festa replied, "I got permission from the staff." He then asked Karaya and Maria if they had thought about his offer. Maria replied, "Do you mean cultivating popel grass?" He answered, "Yes, since you never came to me, I came to hear your answer myself." Entelise was shocked that they had negotiated a deal with Festa behind her back. "I'm working with the powers of darkness, and now with a scoundrel like him? This city is doomed." Karaya said, "It's impossible for us to deal with someone like him. I thought you'd understand that when we didn't show up to give you a reply." She then asked Miss Entelise for permission to handle the men herself, and the mayor granted it, as these men had been causing a lot of trouble in her city. The three guards stood before the three gang members, who revealed a syringe containing a concentrated extract of popel grass. A single injection, they claimed, would make a person unable to live without it and a slave to their commands. Karaya threatened the gang leader, "If you try to harm us, you will make Mynoghra your enemy. We may look like two weak girls, but the man who entrusted us with this mission, King Takuto, is a great king," the gang leader scoffed. "I'll be just fine. With this syringe, the two of you will obey my orders. After that, I'm sure that perverted idiot Takuto will shut up and do everything I say." He then gave the syringe to his men and tried to escape. But King Takuto's guards, who were tasked with protecting the girls, eliminated the gang members in an instant and prevented their leader from escaping. The scene shifted to King Takuto, who said, "I can't believe that unit would actually be so useful in this world." Emily entered and asked, "Why did you send doctors as their guards? You could have sent warriors instead." Atu replied, "We sent them because they are very fond of humans, including the demi-humans close to them. That's why they have some unique abilities. They are skilled at both healing humans and killing them. They love humans, but they couldn't become humans themselves. These are our brain eaters." Emily became very frightened. The scene shifted back to the gang leader, who was terrified. The doctors had managed to take down his followers instantly, and a lot of blood had spilled. The doctors then revealed their true faces, looking joyful after tearing apart the followers of this evil leader. "We will get much closer to becoming true humans," they said. The evil leader and Ms. Entelise were terrified by the sight of these warriors. Maria reassured Entelise, then ordered the soldiers to deal with him quickly. "You have insulted our king, and that is the most unforgivable mistake you could make. We will show you no mercy. I will never forgive anyone who insults our king." They apprehended him in an instant, looking overjoyed. Ms. Entelise was so scared that she wet herself. She found the three guards acting like madmen and, despite her fear, began to laugh. This is where our episode ends today. Wait for us in future episodes of this anime. Our episode today begins with King Takuto as Ado was speaking to him, saying, "Your Majesty, you have granted these two all this freedom. Why did you do that? Were you watching them before? Did you stop doing your work just to watch them using your shared perception? Why did you do this when you even had plenty of time to warn them using your telepathy?" He replied, "Yes, but I didn't want to be harsh on them and make them hate me. Besides, they are at an age where they are easily influenced by anything." Ato became furious and said to him, "Are you their father? Are you one of those fathers who leaves all the unpleasant scolding to the mother just to look good in front of your children?" Then she turned to them and said, "And as for you two, what were you thinking, conspiring with King Takuto to cover this up? It's too late for a cover-up." She then looked at the three of them and said, "I heard you skinned someone in front of the mayor." They replied, "Yes. We have taken a step closer to being human. To get closer to humans, we obtained human skin." "Look," enraged, she shouted at them, "Silence!" After that, the king spoke, saying, "I think the brain eaters had a bad influence on them." Otto was furious and said, "These two eagerly gave the orders to those bird heads to do this. I sent them additional warnings to at least adhere to a minimum of etiquette, and this is the result. None of you will leave this place until you have thought long and hard about what you have done. The scene now shifts to the meeting, where the king was seated with everyone around him. Atto, still angry, said, "Let's begin the meeting about what to do regarding Dragon Tan." Everyone then tried to calm Atto down, as she was angry and could not rein in her emotions. The meeting had to proceed in a smooth and easy manner, as the Dragon Tan issue was the priority. Then, the grandfather spoke to the two sisters, asking them, "Can we assume that your investigation was perfectly consistent with what is in this report?" They told him, "Yes. We also presented it to the king, so it should be accurate." He told them, "It seems then that the city is in a state of turmoil. They lack the resources to maintain order, and it appears crime rates are on the rise. Sooner or later, they will face some kind of unrest." Otto added, "And on top of all that, they are also facing external attacks from barbarians. Never come singly. According to this report, they are facing goblins, orcs, and sometimes hill giants. I know that goblins and orcs aren't the problem, but losses against hill giants are unavoidable. They appear suddenly in groups near the city, and their numbers increase by a few units almost every day. This is likely a result of their poor enemy detection capabilities. Normal beastmen have sharp senses that allow them to quickly detect approaching enemies, but it seems they are too exhausted. In any case, if nothing changes, it is only a matter of time before the state of Dragontan falls. Therefore, everyone agreed that they must send a large force as soon as possible. But we also shouldn't send everyone, so as not to affect our labor force. The farm workers would negatively impact our country's economy. We have our main army, and if we need to, we can draw from the reserves." This meant that they would likely resort to a plan, and Atto would participate. She has a wondrous ability that allows her to steal useful skills from people, even from the weak, like those barbarians. A great opportunity to enhance your power, as King Takto told her. He also informed her, "I was already intending to involve you once we decided to send troops, but in the end, we will need more men to achieve a crushing victory over our enemies." Everyone was very worried. The matter was not easy, and it was the first time they had fought a war like this. Their national defense had, until now, depended on the presence of Lady Atto. Atto told him that if he had something to point out, he should please say it. Takto replied, telling her that he was right to allow the Dark Elves to participate in their meetings, as it was completely different from when he had to think of everything by himself. As long as he was managing a real civilization, their input was essential. This is perfect, an excellent strategy, he thought. He then asked them to continue in this manner. The elven men rejoiced at his encouragement and swore to him that they would always live up to his expectations. Takto was also happy because these words increased their enthusiasm. Unlike in the game, a leader's role is to draw out their full potential. It is indeed a difficult task, but an incredibly rewarding one. Then we see him and his townspeople in the forest in front of a large tree, waiting for a new hero to be born. Korea asks him what kind of hero he will summon now, and he tells her it's a surprise they should look forward to. He then speaks with Atto via telepathy, asking her what she thinks will happen with Isla, as she is the first hero they have summoned since coming to this world. Atto replies that she can't even guess, but she is certain she will protect him if Isla rebels. Takto replies that he can face this crucial moment because she is always by his side and willing to go to such lengths. However, he wouldn't be able to summon her again if he lost her, so he begs her not to sacrifice herself. He then uses his power and summons Isla. When Isla appears, she greets Takto and tells him she is honored to be granted this meeting with him here. She then introduces herself. She is the lady of all insects, and her very being trembles with genuine joy at the thought of serving him once again. Takto welcomed her, telling her he hadn't seen her in a long time. He then asked if she remembered him. Isla laughed and told him that of course she remembered him. After that, Atto interjected, asking Isla to allow her to confirm something. Would she truly serve him or not? Isla retorted that her question was absurd. Of course she would serve Takto. The days she spent with him are engraved upon her body. He is the only one who could unleash her full power, and she would never forget him. She was always King Takto's favorite. She then asks him to explain the current situation, and he tells her they will talk at the palace. They return to his palace, and Takto speaks with Isla, telling her what has happened. He explains that there is much he doesn't understand, but he was able to get this far thanks to Atto. Atto becomes shy and tells him that it was all only because he was always with her. If she had been alone, she would have committed suicide. Isla answered them that she would protect their peaceful nation in this strange land, as this was the duty they entrusted to her. Takto informed her that as his heroine, she would be responsible for defense above all else. In that case, their heroine in charge of the attack would be the one to eliminate the barbarians in the city of Dragontan. Atto cried and told him that sending her was the right decision, but she would miss him while she was away. Takto told her he would miss her too. Takto becomes sad and then says to Atto, "And I will miss you very much, but you are the only one I can entrust with this mission, but I'm very worried. I don't know, because I can't talk to the Dark Elves without you." Atto replied to him, "We have always been together, since we came to this world, but now we will be separated." They both cry a lot and then hug each other. After that, Atto bids them farewell and promises that she will return as soon as possible. We notice that Takto is very sad. Isla tells him that it is time for her to start her work. "I am very excited. I will do my part so you can enjoy this good game." Leave all the details to me. Then Isla says to Tacto while he is still in bed, you can't do anything by yourself. The sun has been up for a while, and I can't believe you haven't woken up yet. Then Mary comes in saying the king always sleeps until noon, and on the days when he doesn't wake up by noon, we or Lady Ato come to wake him. Isla is astonished, and then says, you act like a child. No more excuses. We don't have time. You are the king of ruin, the leader of the great kingdom of Mynoghra. How do you think others will look at you when you sleep until noon and let women come to wake you up? Make sure you wake up in the morning from now on. Tacto, saddened, says to her, I will do my best. Then Karia speaks to Isla, saying, you are completely different from Ato. She always lets our king do as he pleases. Then Isla asks Tacto if she can take Karia and Maria with her for a while. Because I am not used to the basic facilities in Mynoghra, I was hoping you could show me the place. Tacto thinks to himself, so she wants to see things for herself instead of just reading a map to get a clear picture of our national defenses. Tacto agrees to let them go. After that, Iswa says, your people will come soon to ask for your approval. It is better that you look presentable. Then they leave. Amelia comes to him with a paper saying, Tacto, I wanted to ask you to review the new adjustments in the work distribution and give your approval. Tacto becomes very scared, saying to himself, this might be the first time I've spoken to someone other than Ato by myself. He then tells Amelia that it's very excellent. I think you did a really good job, but from next week, reduce the number of workers assigned to gathering and direct them to other tasks. Amelia informs him, we are currently adjusting the amount we collect since we finished summoning the hero, but I will definitely do that. Tacto talks to himself. There is no escape in a one-on-one conversation like this, but this is very tiring, but I will do my best. After that, we go to Isla. She says to Karia and Mary, tell me everything you know about our facilities. Karia tells her, this is the government office. It is where people submit their paperwork and reports are written. It is very neat and beautiful. I like it very much. On their way, they meet Amelia running quickly. Mary says to her, you look very busy. Are you okay? Amelia replies with great worry and stress, can you believe it? The training equipment broke again. The rate at which it's being destroyed is insane. I'm on the verge of a breakdown trying to manage the budget for it. I'm already overloaded with work after Moltar's departure, and now this adds even more to my plate. Isla says, I will reprimand our warrior chief. Amelia smiles at her and says, when you have time, I would like to get your advice on our new building. Isla agrees with pleasure. After that, we see them training, and a brave warrior comes with all his strength and breaks their swords, saying to them angrily, do you think you will protect our king in this weak state? Suddenly, Isla comes to him and says, before you retrain them, you should prepare your own gear first. He apologizes to her, shocked by her and by the fact that she is a giant. Isla begins to stroke his hair with her hands, saying, if you want to protect our king, you must also have a calm mind. Suddenly, they hear a strange sound. The two girls take Isla and tell her that it's dinner time, so they should go together. By then, it is evening, and we find them distributing food to the entire town, as this is less wasteful than everyone cooking for themselves. One of the cooks comes to Miss Isla and tells her that she will sit in this special place and eat from different dishes than the rest of the people. But Isla tells them, I will eat from the same dishes as the rest of the people. I am one of them, and I cannot do my duty unless I share your perspective and feelings. At that moment, the two girls come with 2 plates, just like the others, but with a picture of Isla drawn on them. She is very happy with them and begins to hug them. They are overjoyed that she is hugging them and patting them on the head. In the evening, we see Isla walking in the village, thinking about planting living cane on the borders, as then, we will have a perfect defense against intruders. Suddenly, Isla sees the 2 children and finds that one of them is crying, and they are still awake, long past their bedtime. Karia says, I woke up and couldn't sleep, and Maria woke up too because her sister was crying. Isla praises them and praises the affectionate older sister for caring for her little sister. She asks them why they can't sleep. They say that they have dreams of happy times and dreams of their mother. We know we have to move on, but the scenes we see in our dreams are so warm and comfortable. Then we wake up and remember that it's all gone, and it hurts so much. That's why whenever one of us cries because of our dreams, the other wakes up to be by her side. But it's okay. We haven't been having these dreams much lately. Tonight was the first time in a while. We're sorry we disturbed you, and we'll go back to sleep soon. A wonderful idea occurs to Isla. She will sleep with them from now on. When you wake up, you will at least find me here with you. I will always be here for you, I promise. The two are very happy, remember the beautiful times with their mother, and fall asleep in Isla's arms. We return once again to the palace. Illa tells the king, after discussing the matter with little Amelia, I recommend that the Educational Institute be our next construction project. The king agrees to this because it is a very necessary building. We will build the living cane after that, he says. Isla says, the forest gives preference to the dark elves, and the cursed domain gives preference to all evil creatures. Also, I am here now, so we will be fine for a while. The king considered that they were not in the midst of a war right now anyway, so there was no need to rush to strengthen their defenses. Ila then tells him that little Karia had told her something that made her heart jump with joy. She remembers when Karia said to her, I want to learn lots of things to be more useful to our king. Isla relays these words to the king, and he is very pleased. Then he asks about what is happening with little Ato now. The king tells him that she seems to be in a slightly funny situation. At that moment, the scene shifts to her, and King Tacto is also watching her. Huge trolls, many of them, are coming to attack her. Can Atto defeat them? And will she return safely to our great king? This is what we will find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. But we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all that is new. Our story begins today with the great King Takuto. He summons a large being who greets them, saying, "I am honored to be here with you. I have come from the lands of the East." They take the being to a place and explain everything. This magnificent insect named Acy has 6 eyes and 4 wings. People are trying to get used to her because she loves them dearly. Now the time for the great battle has arrived. We see these people rapidly storming the area, but Acy strikes them with her claws with incredible speed. The village elder is shocked by what she witnesses. At the same time, she is scared, and her behavior is strange. Acy tells her, "Perhaps you should rest now." The elder leaves. The scene then shifts to Acy as the villagers bring her a warm drink. They've bonded well with her, which is a good sign. All this credit goes to Mr. Bibi, a small child who calls Acy an octopus, greatly annoying her. He then leaves. Acy remembers this incident and is very angry. Molitar tells her, "Focus, why are you distracted? I have a question for you. How is your progress in stealing abilities from these barbarians? Didn't you say you'd gather their powers? Have you done it or not?" She replies, "Don't worry, everything is going well. Even though they are weak, this group has better abilities than they deserve." Molitar laughs and says, "Amazing, amazing! I am confident that the king is ours." At that moment, they see a giant of the hills approaching from a distance. But there's a trick to it, because Molitar doesn't sense any magical energy or power from 2 kilometers away. The fact that this Molitar appears only 500 meters away means there's a problem. Perhaps the ground defenses haven't fully activated, or there's a malfunction in the defensive system. Acy tries to discover the trick behind their sudden appearance. At that moment, the village leader comes running, saying, "Help, help, the hill giant has appeared. Should I tell the archers to prepare?" But Acy tells her, "Don't worry about it, I will be enough on my own." With that, Acy rushes off. Molitar tells the village leader, "Don't worry about her, this hill beast is weak, useless, but I won't stand idly by. I must use my power too and participate from my spot." He then deploys a smoke bomb that engulfs the large troll beast while Acy directly attacks it, flying upwards and striking its neck, decapitating it. When it dies, she sees something strange. Gold pieces. This is very unusual. Acy then speaks with Takuto, informing him that when she defeated the hill giant earlier, its body disappeared and gold pieces appeared in its place. She then asked Elder Molitar about it, who told her that this was the first time he had witnessed such a thing, and that he had never even seen gold pieces before. Takuto then told her that he would use his shared knowledge. He does so and sees these gold pieces. When he sees them, he feels like he has seen them before, but cannot remember where. He tries to remember and then recalls Brave Questos. Suddenly, a massive army appears before Acy and her companions, approaching from a distance. After that, we see the holy sorceress walking with her army in the ruined city. Suddenly, the consuming sorceress Arachino appears and kills the holy sorceress's men. As she approaches the holy sorceress, she greets her and tells her that she is happy to meet her, as she hasn't seen them in a long time. The holy sorceress informs her that they have executed her 17 times previously, and all of them succeeded thanks to their sacrifice, so why doesn't she die now and let them finish her off? Arachino replies that she knows they have tried to kill her 17 times, and she wonders why, but she knows that she is very strong, just like her. The holy sorceress tells her that she knows she is trying to do something, but she still doesn't know what it is, but she will try to kill her every time. The sorceress tells her that it is her turn now. She then signals all the dead to rise, as she has turned them into zombies. She then orders them to attack the holy sorceress to kill her. The holy sorceress uses her spell, creating a very large circle of fire around her to protect herself from the zombies. She then unleashes these flames on all of them, killing them all with ease. She then grabs the sorceress and kills her easily, but she still doesn't understand what is happening here in this area. We then return to Acy, where everyone is unaware of where this huge army came from. One of the guards asks the messengers to hurry and inform Mayor Antilles. Takuto then continues his conversation with Acy, informing her that their enemy is a traditional Japanese role-playing game called Brave Questos, where you play the role of a hero and embark on an adventurous journey with your companions to defeat the final boss, the Demon King, and save the world. It is a famous game and is said to be the ancestor of most computer role-playing games. Acy understands that he means that the reason for their sudden appearance is that they are exploiting this. Takuto informs her that she is correct, and since there are no warnings for random encounters with the enemy in Brave Questos, he believes they are exploiting this. He was afraid that there might be other similar people, but he never expected them to come from a completely different type of game. The possibility was probably sufficient. Takuto then tells her that the information they obtained from the Holy Knight revealed the name of a unit that was never part of the Eternal Nations. Ayla replies, "I've played Brave Questos before, which means you know how we can defeat our enemy." Takuto then tells Acy that he will tell her how to defeat their enemy now. The scene then shifts to these demons. Ace speaks to Flamand. Has the Demon King issued any orders? Flamand laughs, saying, "Yes, the same orders. Nothing new. All the monsters and plans are ours to command as we wish. It may be a different world, but His Majesty the Demon King has not diminished." Ace says, "We must reward this trust placed in us. We are truly fortunate to have been suddenly summoned to this land. All the orcs and goblins here are now part of the Demon King's forces. This is what we expect from our great ruler. He is truly fit to rule this world." Then he says, "I will ask you a foolish question, but what happened to our ambitions for the world we came from?" Flamand tells him, "None of that matters. Our priority now is to carry out the Demon King's orders." We then see Ace saying, "Advance all forces. We will crush this city and offer the despair and suffering of its people to the Demon King." Flamand tells him, "I will not participate for now. You can have the honor of leading them. It is time for me to go now. I cannot focus on my own goals." They quickly head towards the city, but suddenly this smoke appears and they become tired. Ace is surprised and asks the person what is happening. He replies, "We believe it is an enemy spell." But Ace is surprised, saying, "There is no spell of this wide scope. I find it hard to believe. The orcs and goblins are suffering, while pure demons like us are gaining strength. This spell is the work of someone loyal to the forces of evil." Then Ace comes and kills this person, saying, "You are all from a role-playing game." Ace is surprised by her presence and asks her, "Who are you?" She tells him, "I am a frost mage. You must be Ace, one of the 4 generals. I came from a nation-building simulation game called Eternal Nations. I serve our great and mighty King Takuto, and I am the one who will kill all of you." After that, we go to the palace, and monsters appear. The princess asks them to bring every arrow they have, evacuate the city, and take the inhabitants to the northwest complexes. Once the exit path is secured, they will abandon the city. Elder Molitar appears, telling her, "There's no need for all that trouble. We are here by your side." The princess tells him, "We are facing a huge army. It's in a state of chaos because of your spell now, but that will only delay them. My current strength cannot stop them." They are then surprised by an attack from outside, and they expect it to be from Ace. Molitar rejoices, saying, "That woman is the proud hero of Mynoghra. Since she has entered the battlefield, there is no chance of defeat. I am confident that she will decapitate our enemy's general, and without their general, that army will be nothing but a rabble. We can easily eliminate them with our current forces, The mayor is very surprised. We then see AZ defeating this great army with her octopus-like tails, until only this ice orc remains. He attacks her with an ice attack, but she easily dodges and blocks his attack. She then attacks him with her sword in quick succession, and some gold coins fall from him, but he is still alive. AZ says that it is exactly as King Takuto expected. King Takuto tells her that battles in role-playing games are between small teams, but in simulation strategy games, battles take place at the army level, meaning that a single unit's attacks target the entire enemy army. This difference should greatly work in their favor. It doesn't matter if they face a huge army. In the end, they are no match for you, AZ. This orc then asks AZ not to interfere because she is evil too and must bow before their lord, the Demon King, and join in spreading his rule throughout the world. AZ is surprised by this and mocks him. The orc tells her that they seek to create a world for themselves, the demons, a world without humans, but she tells him that there is no point in that. The situation is difficult enough with all this work that she has to do now, and that is for just one ordinary country. Yet you want the whole world, and you, orc, have been defeated repeatedly by the hero. He then gets angry and tells her to shut up and attacks her repeatedly, but to no avail. AZ provokes him and tells him that he is very weak and was only created to be defeated. He then gets angrier and radiates a powerful light or aura of energy, but AZ believes that such an attack will not affect her. He is a very weak person, but suddenly she finds that her legs are frozen by his ice and she cannot move. This orc then attacks her powerfully in her shoulder and she falls to the ground. The orc tells her that this was his strongest blow. Then, to her great surprise, AC rises again and attacks him powerfully with her tails, finishing him off instantly. Many gold coins fall from him, and her wounds heal instantly. After that, she gains the orc's ability and is very happy because she will send the report to King Takuto, telling him that she has finished and that the enemy was one of the 4 generals, and although she suffered a minor injury, she completely defeated him. But suddenly, this monster named Flamand appears, with his hands glowing with fire, and with him is a huge army. AC is very shocked by this. Will AC be able to defeat this army alone in this state after losing a lot of blood and being exhausted from fighting that orc? This is what we will find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. But we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all our new content.
When a kingdom's greatest champion faces one of the Demon King's for strongest generals, the battle shakes the very earth. But what happens when a triumphant victory turns into a horrifying trap? Get ready, because the real fight is just beginning. The episode ignites as Odo strikes down one of the 4 great generals. Though she sustains a minor injury, her victory is absolute. But suddenly, she senses the presence of another enemy force in their town. A man appears with his aides, remarking how beautiful the town is. The scene then shifts to Takuto. A guard rushes in, informing him that enemy forces have entered the cursed lands. Takuto calmly replies that he is already aware. Ayla explains that their king possesses the power to know everything that happens in his territory. She adds that their main forces, along with Gia, have already deployed at high speed and will also move to the residential area, so the guard must return to his post immediately. The guard quickly retreats. The two sisters then approach Takuto, asking about the situation in the town. Is it dangerous? Ayla reassures them, telling them that she and their master are here before all else, so there is nothing to worry about, even though the situation is somewhat unpleasant. She admits she never thought they would be attacked here, but now she doesn't know what they should do. There's a chance the enemy leader, this so-called Demon King, could be another player just like their master. And if he is, Takuto responds that it doesn't matter if he's a player or not. Peace between them is difficult at this stage. Odo has already taken down one of their generals, so they will surely come to crush them with all their might. He tells her they must launch their counterattack. With that, he leads them out of the palace. As they walk, Takuto tells Ayla that they have her power as the champion of defense. They also have the Dark Elven warriors led by Gia. Although there aren't many, their morale is at its peak. They also have the Brain Eaters. They only possess 3, but their healing abilities will prove dependable in this situation. Finally, they have the larvae that Ayla has birthed. While they are specialized for labor, they should be able to fight to some extent. And above all, Ayla's very presence here enhances their abilities. Ayla decides to birth some combat larvae as well to get the job done. But Takuto tells her there's no use thinking about that now, what they have is enough. Just then, Emil communicates with Takuto via telepathy, informing him that they have finished evacuating those who cannot fight. Takuto tells her they are on their way and will join them immediately. Next, Gia contacts Takuto, providing a rough report on the number of enemies that have entered the Cursed Lands. Takuto is pleased. Emil and Gia are capable of thinking for themselves and acting on his orders. He truly has dependable people under his command. He asks Gia for the enemy count. Gia reports he can see approximately 1,000 enemies invading the Cursed Lands, in addition to goblins and orcs. He can also see unfamiliar and grotesque creatures. Takuto thanks him, ordering him to continue focusing on the defense of the area around the capital while he handles the enemy. Takuto reflects on the enemy numbers. It's a lot. It's highly likely one of the 4 heavenly generals is among them. He feels this battle is going to be difficult indeed. Ayla tells him he's already decided on their strategy, so why worry? Takuto replies that their reserves of magical energy are for moments precisely like this. They are facing a difficult game, and it's time to show them their power. Ayla understands immediately. He intends to create units through emergency production. If he uses that, he can easily reverse the disparity in numbers. The ability to produce any units they want, as long as they have the magical energy, is an incredibly useful mechanic for them. Takuto declares that he is granting her the town's entire reserve of magical energy so she can raise her level as much as possible. Indeed, Ayla is able to level up. Takuto then instructs her to be sure to acquire the predation and parasitic egg skills, and to use that power to overwhelm the enemy. Ayla thanks him for entrusting everything to her in such a crisis. Afterward, Takuto states that he has a general overview of the enemy's forces from the Dragonton battle. Even if one of the 4 heavenly generals is there, she is now more than capable of handling them. He tells her, "Show me why you are known as the champion of defense." Ayla declares, "I, the Queen of Insects, will rise to your expectations and defeat all your enemies for your sake." Takuto tells her he has faith in her, but warns her to be wary of any common attacks found in RPG game mechanics. The 2 sisters look on, extremely worried for her. She tells them she will return to them safely, so there's no need to worry. Ayla turns to Maria and Korea. "Don't look at me with such sadness. I will make sure to come home. I've made you a promise." Maria tells her, "We will take care of the king and wait for you." Ayla bids them farewell and departs. The scene shifts to a forest, where a group of monsters and men are gathered. One of the men complains, "Why did we have to split from Ice Rock and invade this place alone?" A monster replies, "There's a strong chance this operation is happening without the Demon King's approval. Perhaps the chief is planning to betray the Demon King." It seemed things were different for the chief and the Demon King. Suddenly, a man's body begins to contort strangely, and he explodes in their faces. But they deflect the blast. Ayla appears, saying, "You are all part of the Demon King's army, the forces of darkness. Why are you retreating? If you are forces of darkness, you should be more beautiful, cruel, and absolute." We then see that Ayla has slaughtered every monster in the area. She remarks, "They aren't very nutritious. I think I'll give them a 30. I'm talking about your followers." A fearsome demon appears, saying, "Yes, that's a terrible thing to say about them. I want to get to know you better." Ayla introduces herself. I serve the kingdom of Mynoghra, ruled by the great king of ruin, King Takuto. I am one of his champions, the queen of insects. She then asks the fearsome demon to identify himself. He tells her, I am one of the 4 heavenly generals of the Demon King's army. Flamane, the flame demon. Isla is overjoyed. So one of you is actually here. I expected a commander to be present with an army of this size, like Ice Rock was in Dragonton. The demon informs her he was overthrown. He was just a muscle-bound fool and the weakest of us for heavenly generals. I am to ranks above him. So if you thought I'd be defeated as easily as him, you are mistaken. Isla retorts, you seem very confident in yourself. The demon replies, of course. It will be easy for me to kill you and drag that king of yours from his throne. Enraged, Isla shouts, that's big talk for scum like you. We see King Takuto thinking to himself. Isla is fighting the flame demon, Flamane. When an RPG character faces a character from a nation management simulation game, the simulation character is overwhelmingly stronger in combat. We already confirmed that in the previous battle. It's only a matter of time before she defeats him. He continues his thoughts. The larvae not participating in the fight are patrolling the cursed lands and defeating invaders. His warriors are spread out in a defensive formation around the capital. Emil is handling the elves who were evacuated. The Brain Eaters are nearby. Everything is proceeding smoothly. Theoretically, at least, the king then pauses, thinking about something. Korea asks him what he's thinking. Something is bothering me deeply. Did anything catch your attention? The 2 girls say nothing is on their minds. Back at the battle between the flame demon and the queen of insects, Isla, the demon is shocked by Isla's immense power. He unleashes numerous blows, but they are completely useless. His attacks are too weak. He uses flames in his strikes, and she attacks him repeatedly, but he manages to dodge them. Suddenly, she launches a powerful attack through her larvae, completely covering him. Enraged, he ignites a massive fire around himself, incinerating all the larvae. When he sees that Isla has her followers, he summons his own. Isla tries to ask the demon a question, but he ignores her and attacks relentlessly with fireballs, all of which she deflects. She tells him, there's no need to act like that. My master wishes to know. The demon's followers prepare and launch an attack on Isla, but she injects larvae into all of their bodies from underground, killing them all instantly. Isla tries to attack him repeatedly, but he flees and lands on a tree. She says, separating your forces from Dragonton to attack us seems like a foolish strategy. The demon replies, do you not know the reason? Or is your master simply hiding it from you? In any case, I feel sorry for you, but Isla tells him, your words cannot shake my loyalty to him. He launches a powerful attack at her as she affirms, I am the loyal servant of our king, Ira Takuto. Nothing more and nothing less. The demon screams, I hate this. You describe yourself as his servant, yet you are filled with pride and conviction. That's why I'm so angry. It's because you are all free. You serve your king of your own free will, and your devotion to him is your choice. She replies, your words have no effect on me. Nothing brings me greater joy than being useful to my master. And what about you, forced to dance to the tune of a role forced upon you? At this, the demon erupts in rage. Once I've killed you all, I will obtain my absolute freedom. In his fury, flames shoot from him, reaching the sky. He unleashes these flames upon Isla. She tries to escape, but he corners her. In the final moment, Isla blocks the strike, encasing herself in a defensive stone-like egg. She then emerges and mocks him. Is this the limit of your thirst for freedom? He attacks her again, but she easily dodges it and says, that's not nearly enough to kill me. If you truly want to kill me, you'll need to prepare at least 5 times that. The demon attacks again and again at incredibly high speed until his magical power is depleted. At that moment, Isla attacks him, slashing his stomach. Before she finishes him, she says, I have one last message for you from my master. He said, you have greatly underestimated us. The demon remembers what his own leader said. We will truly obtain peace and freedom if we sacrifice this world. Back in reality, Isla strikes the demon, splitting him in 2. And with that, she has defeated the blazing general, Flamane, one of the most powerful of the demon kings for heavenly generals. At that moment, the king contacts her, congratulating her on a job well done. She is overjoyed that her master was watching her. Suddenly, their connection is severed. A message appears. Chat function is currently unavailable. Both of them are stunned. And then the girls, Korea and Maria, find themselves right there with Isla on the battlefield. They are all bewildered as to why they came here. They themselves don't know how. They cry out, we were with the king just a moment ago. Why are we here? Isla quickly commands her larvae to protect the girls, and suddenly we see the flame demon. Smiling. He is still alive. He must have used a dirty trick, knowing he was going to die. Will Isla be able to protect the two girls and return to her master victorious? We'll find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. But we ask that you please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new updates.
Our episode today begins with Korea and Maria. Isla asks them what they're doing here, but they don't know what's happening or what brought them there. They said, "We don't know. We were with the king just a moment ago. Let's go to the king now." The king was very astonished and said, "That shouldn't be possible. How did they disappear from the place?" Then he tries to communicate telepathically and calls out to them, "Korea, Maria, Isla, please answer me now." But the result was zero. Perhaps the telepathic communication they were using was being jammed. But the real shock isn't that. It's that the monster Isla was fighting is still alive, even though it was split in half. Here, Isla orders her children to protect the two girls and they try to surround them, but then something strange happens and they all scatter. Isla calls out to the Brain Eaters, "Brain Eaters, come here at once if you can hear me." She tries to call out with all her might, but unfortunately, there's no response from anyone. She comes to them and hugs them, then tries to take them to a safe place far away. But here, something very strange happens, my friends. It's a major disaster. After Isla walked for about 15 minutes looking for a place, she finally found one, but when she entered it, she found that it was a closed loop, and she returned to the exact same place where she was at the beginning. Here we see the monster laughing a terrifying laugh. She tries to hit it with fatal blows, but it says, "Don't bother yourself, I won't die." She tries to hit it with a direct blow to its head, but it blocks her with a barrier wall and says, "You can't kill me now. I'm already dead anyway, so it won't make a difference to me." Takato was sitting there in the far east and said, "I wonder what Ira will do, but I remember this happening in a game before. Even though the general had died, he rose again, and that's what's happening now." We return once again to the battlefield. Isla talks to this monster, and it says to her, "I will eat you all now, and you will never win." She gets angry and says to him, "You won't be able to touch a single hair on these girls. Don't worry, my girls, I will protect you with all my might." And indeed, she tries to hit it with repeated blows, but it has activated a strong and sturdy barrier wall. Here, something more bizarre than imagination happens. The monster tries to control them and bridle them with a red bridle. They completely lose control of themselves, as if they are hypnotized. Ira said to them, "Where are you going? Stay behind me and don't move." But they said to her, "We don't know why we're doing this." Isla tries to grab them to control them, but they move in the monster's direction. Then the monster says to her, "Now I'll show you how I tear them apart in front of you, right before your eyes. Let's see what you can do now." She said to him, "I'll do something, and if I do, I will kill you." He said, "Not when you can't even move first." They move more and cry for help. Isla tries to free herself, but to no avail. He said to her, "You won't be able to do anything, but I'll tell you a secret. This cursed mechanism is called a programmed event, and that's why you can't move." But she didn't give up. She began to resist until the end. She started to inflate her body more and more. But this fool says, "You fools can't live here. This place is for the strong. We, the demons, will invade the world and control everything. As for you, your place is under the ground. Why did you come in the first place? We must completely erase your traces, and your king, Takato, is no better than me in anything." I wish his heart would burn. I wish he were here to see your heads separated from your bodies. Perhaps that would heal my fury. And Flaming says to them that he rejects that and he hates them all. The place they are in then explodes. Afterwards, we see the twin sisters, Maria and Karia, sitting on top of this giant tree, from where they look down at their village and are very impressed by it because they can see it completely from the top of the tree. Their king had told them that his country is a country for everyone, so it is also their country and the country of their mother Isla. Then they look at the moon and find it large, bright, and very beautiful. Maria then remembers when their king told them that when you say the moon is beautiful, it means he loves them. They are always impressed by their king and their knowledge of so much information. Then Karia asks her sister Maria when their king taught her such wonderful things. Then the twins decide to bring their mother Isla with them next time to this place because everyone's country looks very beautiful from here. They want to tell her that the moon is very beautiful and the night of the full moon will be perfectly suitable to bring her on the next full moon. Suddenly, they find themselves in that large pit and in front of them is their mother, Isla, where she was stabbed all over her body and her right arm was separated from her body. She is in a completely miserable state. They are shocked when they find her like this. Isla then tries to speak to them and ask them about their health, but she cannot. The two sisters run to her, crying about what happened to her and asking her about her health because her injury is more important than anything else. They must now take her to the king, and the bird heads quickly to heal her. Korea tries to call out to the king, but he does not respond at all. Isla tells them that she does not need to be healed, but she wants them to listen to what she will say very carefully. She tells them that she is confident that they both know what she will say, but that she will not survive. Therefore, there is something she wants to entrust to them. The two girls interrupt her and tell her that they will be two obedient girls, but first they must find a way to save her. She tells them that there is no way to save her. The two girls cry and tell her that they will not let her die like this, as they wanted to live with her forever. Isla comforts them and tells them that they have not done anything wrong to her. She was simply too weak. The two girls cry more and more, then ask her to let them die with her. There is no point in living anymore, and no good comes from this life. Their mother then asks them to listen to her last words. In a heart-wrenching moment, Isla tells them to listen to her last words. She puts her hands together and takes out her own heart, saying, "Forgive your mother, because she will die right before your eyes. Now, I have one last request for you. Please do it. Keep on living." Korea repeatedly asks her, "Why must we do that again?" Isla then apologizes to the king, saying, "Forgive me for this selfish act. I used the experience I gained to learn the skill of crown passing." A beam of light then emerges from her heart, and she tells them, "I will give all my power to you. Live your lives however you wish, for I love you very much." Isla then falls to the ground, and the girls cry over her as she dies. Afterward, we see many monsters, and they head towards the warrior Otto. Otto tells them, "You don't need to come with me." But the old man refuses, saying, "That's not true. The king ordered me to walk beside you and destroy the stronghold of the Demon King." Otto then says to herself, "I must hurry and return to the king," and she attacks the monsters and kills them. Otto realizes that Isla has died and screams at the top of her lungs that Isla was a hero of Mynoghra. We then see the king, also saddened by Isla's death, saying, "The programmed Freeman event was famous." He receives a message from the Demon King stating that Isla has been destroyed and one threat has been removed from the world. We then return to Karia and Maria, who are eating Isla's heart. At night, we see the king talking to Otto, saying that Isla was defeated and trapped in a death scene. Otto screams that this attack was a terrible mistake, as she failed to report a critical detail. In that moment, Otto remembers that she failed to report a very important detail. She then tells Takuto that Isla's defeat is an emergency, and she will return to the capital immediately. The king tells her that he knows all of this, but that she must slow down, as Isla is dead, and this is an unavoidable truth, unfortunately. However, the twins survived. She asks him why he is mentioning the twins. He tells her that they are moving south towards the enemy's stronghold, and he believes they are trying to avenge their mother. Otto tells him that they can't do that. The king replies that Isla used crown passing to make them inherit her hero status, and they cannot afford to lose any more hero units now. He adds that his orders are not reaching them, so he needs her to bring them back. She asks if she is allowed to object, as she believes the role-playing game mechanics are a real threat. She begs him to reconsider and grant her permission to protect him. The king tells her that he understands, but nevertheless, he wants her to go for his sake. In a somber moment, Takuto tells her, "Go for my sake, Isla entrusted them to me." However, Otto is heartbroken by what happened to Isla and orders those with her to all return to the capital. She thinks to herself, "I forgot something very important. King Takuto was the greatest player in the Eternal Nations. I just have to trust him and obey his command." The head of the guard speaks to the king and says, "We'll soon be finished cleaning up the rest of those who entered our land. Should we start pursuing the others?" King Takuto replies, "There is no need for you to act alone. I will issue the necessary orders when needed, soon." The head of the guards is astonished and says, "What happened to our king?" Emily says, "He almost seems like a completely different person now." Meanwhile, we see Karia heading to the defensive front to avenge Isla. She finds a group of soldiers standing in front of her and says to herself, "Why must we face and endure this suffering? Why do these horrible things always happen to us? This world is so painful." We notice that her behavior is unnatural. She starts dancing and spinning around as if she has lost her mind. The enemy, who is sitting in this vehicle and device, orders them to eliminate this intruder. Karia begins to activate a certain curse, eliminating all the soldiers with the girl who has yellow hair. This girl tries to attack Karia, but Karia nullifies the attack and eliminates her instantly. Her body begins to melt. A few soldiers remain and try to eliminate her with their machines, but to no avail. The man who is driving this mechanical shield wants to engage in a mechanical fight, but his machine does not move from its place. He orders the soldiers with him to use their magic, but they do not respond to him. They have forgotten how to perform magic. All of this has been nullified by Karia because she is at the peak of her rage. She says this world itself hates us, and that is why we need love. She eliminates the soldiers instantly, and then eliminates the man driving the machine, and destroys his machine. At this moment, an emergency message and announcement appear in this game, stating that a new threat has emerged in the world. The twin sisters, the sorceresses of regret. If they are not stopped, they will burn the world out of sadness and hatred and turn the world to ashes. And with that, our episode today ends, as does the first part of this great and wonderful anime. Wait for us in future parts and we will be the first to summarize them for you, but please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all that is new.